What's up, guys? Sorry I haven't made new slime dolls in a while.
Oh my god! We're here!
Believe it?
And queer!
We're here, we're queer.
All over again.
Playing another Zelda game. What the fuck?
Apparently it's the direct sequel to the other Zeldas we played.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the Zelda timeline other than that time is convoluted in Hyrule.
As a matter of fact, I have my big green Bible right here. Hold it in front of the webcam so all the nerds can see it. There you go. That's how you know I'm legit. I have one of these things. I'm a nerd. Though in my defense, I did get this when I was like a high school kid. I'm allowed to be cringy. You know, I studied that Zelda timeline very thoroughly, and I think there's a prevailing notion that the timeline is some slapped together horse shit that was just made up for the sake of pretending to have continuity. But there is actual continuity that was planned there from the beginning. It's just over time it started to fall apart more and more as Nintendo, like they're just not that picky about the details, which is fine. I don't think they should be. Being picky about the details is how you make your game less fun because you're restrained by what you can do.
When it comes to video games especially, but like really with any long-term franchise, like people will associate, oh well it's Zelda and oh it's Nintendo and therefore it's this, like it's continuing, but it's like, yeah, but it's different employees, like over a 40-year period. By the way, 40th anniversary of Zelda just happened. Like a month or two ago, I think. I don't hear you anymore.
Meow?
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I was just fucking... I just realized the game audio was loud as fuck, and I was trying to mess with it.
Yeah, good thinking.
Yeah, although
shouts out to Nisa, Z-Cypher, Crystalline Fos in the chat.
Meow.
Z-Cypher said, I want to play as the wolf. I got at least 2 wolves inside of him, I assume is what he means.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we want to read the dialogue like we did with the other games. We don't have to if you don't want to.
We can if you want to. I know there's a lot of it in this game compared to those
it's
ones.
actually too much. I don't feel that strongly about it. Yeah,
no, you've all seen this game. You all know Zelda, I think, probably.
Hopefully.
This game, it's finally old enough to feel nostalgic at this point. Like, I'm looking at it and I can remember a time when this was like cutting edge graphics.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this looks like it was made to be played on a stove, like a fucking old microwave.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's that old fable about how when they made Zelda the Wind Waker, everybody hated it because it had gay cartoon graphics. But over time, it's aged better than the milky, ugly brown graphics of Twilight Princess, which has a piss filter.
I don't disagree with any part of that you just said, actually.
The only part I disagree with is okay, I actually kind of like the way this game looks better than Wind Waker, but it's not because I think Wind Waker looks bad. I just think people gas up Wind Waker a little more than it deserves. I'm sorry.
Definitely at the time that... It's really Nintendo's fault for doing that fucking Space World trailer.
Yep.
Because they made the Space World trailer that was like, what if Ocarina of Time looked like GameCube graphics? And everyone thought it was the sickest shit in the world, and they thought that's exactly what the next Zelda's gonna be. Yeah. And then they unveiled the Wind Waker, and it was like, oh, this is a baby game for babies. And I heard so much shit about it until the game was out, and then it was reviewed. Like every review was glowing for the Wind Waker when it actually came out, and it ended up being one of the best-selling games on the GameCube, which was not a very high-selling console in the first place, so that's still not saying that much. Yeah. But like,
well, see, like, it wasn't even just that. It was also the Wind Waker's reveal trailer was horrible. Like, the trailer itself was just really bad and gave a terrible impression of the game. It showed Link, like, sneaking around, hiding from moblins, and the moblins all looked like doofy as fuck, and they would do this, like, Flintstones-ass whoopity-whoopity-whoopity animation. Like, they really played up how cartoony and silly it was. It was such a stark contrast that, like, I would have been mad, too. I don't blame anyone for being pissed when that came out. Like, as people kind of look back on it now and act like they're... People kind of frame it like the rage was unjustified. It was completely justified, is what I'm getting at.
I remember being, like, personally more indifferent about it. Like, I didn't feel like the existence of this cartoon Link game meant that we were never going to get the, Twilight Princess. And then, of course, this being the next game was like, yeah, of course. Like, of course this was going to come eventually, but... I do remember the hype for this when it was like, oh, they're finally doing it. They're finally making the Zelda that is just, a more, I can't even call this HD really, but, a more high definition version Ocarina aesthetic. But in retrospect, I don't think it feels as much like Ocarina or Majora as it did at the time, where like there was not a lot to compare it to, like back then it was just like, oh, Zelda, but even more detailed. And now I look at it and I'm like, actually the whole aesthetic feels very different from those two games.
Yeah. This game is definitely in a league of its own. I was just trying to fuck with settings because I realized the camera's inverted, and now I'm furious because there's no way to change it. Old video games, yay.
I feel like actually, like, Breath of the Wild might be closer to actually being what Ocarina of Time would look like in HD.
Definitely.
And this is like its own whole different thing. Storybook kind of gothic feel to it.
Are people talking about which Zelda is the worst Zelda? Someone said Twilight Princess is the worst Zelda they've played the most. Like,
well, it is long as fuck, so if you've played this game, I think this and Skyward Sword are both like substantially longer than the other ones, right?
They are. Yeah, when I was younger, I thought this was like a 50+ hour game. I was also bad at it on top of it being long.
It definitely feels eternally long because of how long the intro bit is, just how many cutscenes there are.
Yeah. It's funny too.
This game does a... Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I just like Skyward Sword has the same problem, but I feel like it... I don't know. It's like... That game doesn't get away with it as much because the companion character sucks and no one likes Fee. Yeah. But Midna in this one has so much riz that everybody kind of forgives it for having constant text and telling you exactly what to do every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, even Ocarina of Time, people used to complain about Navi a lot, and I feel like she's been kind of rescued by nostalgia. Like, now I hear that Navi sounds like sampled in music all the time, and I'm like... Yeah, because it sounds cool, and it's nostalgic, but at the time, everyone hated that.
It's so funny, because I never even thought Navi was that bad. I'm just like, you can ignore so much of her dialogue, whereas in other games, it's, like, unskippable. Like, Navi's fine, y'all are just whining.
I think it mostly bothered people because you could be, like, if you were just running around kind of trying to do your own thing, she would keep trying to get you back on track to the story. And it's like, I know, Navi. I'm doing this on purpose. Calm down,
This is crazy. So, like, I just tried playing this on my Wii U recently, playing the HD version, and the horse controls completely different. Like, it's so much more responsive here. It's crazy. I feel like when they made the remaster, they were trying to experiment with, like, more realistic horse animations for Breath of the Wild, and they ended up making it feel terrible. That is crazy.
Whereas here, it just looks really awkward. Like, the horse going up the hill right there was a very, slidey.
It's much more mechanical here, but I like it better because it's like I'm controlling the horse. I'm not controlling the guy controlling the horse. You know?
I definitely prefer... when it comes to video games, I want the control to be as close to, like, I press the button and he just does the thing. Like, the wind-up animations and stuff have always kind of driven me nuts.
Yeah, same.
It does somewhat depend on the game, but with Zelda especially, like, I love that Breath of the Wild is like if you press backwards on the controller, Link just like snaps around, you know.
I'm herding goats. I'm
Herd
having
them
the time of my
goats.
fucking life.
Yeah, so this game starts off with like 15, 20 minutes of helping villagers do stuff in this little village.
Yes. And it's
This has
the
always
best
been the-
game ever, and everyone loves it. No one has ever complained about working on a farm.
I don't dislike this segment of the game. It's just that I've been through it so many times because whether you beat, like, it's one of those things where this is one of those games you might not play all the way through every time you try to play it. And so if you find yourself playing like maybe 3 or 4 hours and then you know something else happens in your life, you put it down and then you come back to the game at some point and you're like, oh, I'm going to start over because you know I don't really remember what happened, and then you end up doing this village segment. So like I've never played past like the second dungeon of this game. I can't remember if I made it to the second dungeon, but like I know I've played through this village segment 4 times, and that I've watched Victor play through it 4 times, and now I'm watching you play through it, and I'm like, yeah, this is all baked into my memory. Like, none of the rest of the game do I remember almost at all, except for like the next village. But
I
this
feel
part,
the same way. It's funny because I love this stuff. Like, I think this is all adorable and awesome. It's like, you know, it's like the Shire from Lord of the Rings. You get all the happy fun times before a disaster strikes. It's cool. But also,
that's
this
the other
is,
thing though, is every
like
fantasy does that though.
Yeah.
Like it's such a trope, and like it's interesting that Zelda doesn't usually do that. Like even thinking back to like in Ocarina of Time, you just kind of leave and you can come back anytime and everyone's still just there doing the same shit they were doing, you know?
It's true.
Whereas I'm trying to think of what was the most recent one actually, I'm thinking of there's a new anime from the creator of Fullmetal Alchemist called Yomi no Tsugai, and it starts off with like this mountain village and there's like tranquil life. It's very similar to this game of like just meeting all these people in this little village doing their villager stuff. And I just remember thinking like, well, this place is obviously gonna fucking burn down, you know, like there's no way the hero's gonna be here for more than 15-20 minutes. And then of course, you know, village gets attacked, half of everyone dies, main character has to leave, probably can't come back ever again, you know.
Made me think of playing Fable when I was a kid. Like the introduction to
that's another
Fable being,
example.
go out and do 5 good deeds around the town, and then everybody burns alive immediately.
Caribou Kun says, Wahoo, my favorite Zelda.
Woohoo. A wahoo.
Where would you say this ranks for you? What is your favorite Zelda?
My favorite Zelda's gotta be Majora's Mask.
Right.
I think for most
think you
people
said
it
that when
usually
we were playing
defaults
it.
to whichever one you played first when you were a baby. That's usually what someone's favorite Zelda is. But this is also, like, when I was a kid, I had access to Ocarina, Majora, and this one, and I didn't really know of any other Zelda games, so it was like, this was it, as far as I knew. Like, I think I saw my brother play Wind Waker for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I don't know what this is. It looks like Zelda, but it's weird, and Link's like a bobblehead. I don't know if this is a real Zelda.
A
or if it's
bobblehead.
something else. Like,
He's like a Nendoroid. Actually, I have a Nendoroid of Wind Waker Link
yeah.
somewhere.
It was just strange and like foreign to me. And like, it kind of felt like going over to my friend's house and he showed me like, look at my new Sonic the Hedgehog games. And like, I grew up with like Sonic 2 and 3, and this kid had like Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Heroes, like 500 characters I'd never heard of. So it was like that feeling again with Zelda. Like, I looked at Wind Waker and thought, oh, this isn't the thing I know anymore. It turned into something else. So Twilight Princess coming out was like, oh, they made another one like Majora's Mask. Yay. But I could tell from the fact that it's on the box it said rated T for teen. I'm like, this one seems like it's a little bit more mature. And then I tried playing it. I got through. Huh?
That's crazy. I didn't know this was
yeah.
T for teen. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I tried playing it as a kid, and I made it through this village part, and I loved its cozy vibes. It reminded me of Harvest Moon, but I did not get very far when I was a youngin'. I don't even know if I made it to the Forest Temple. It just felt too hard. Like, even just figuring out how to get through this village segment felt like a chore and a half. I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
What? I catch a fish to get the cat bird in the fucking what?
It's very adventure game.
Yeah.
And not in like the action adventure sense of Zelda 1, but in the like point and click adventure sense.
Yeah.
Or like a Conker's Bad Fur Day kind of like, you know, task driven. Show up in a zone, do a bunch of things. I don't know how much of the game is actually like this though. Like, is it just this starting segment that has like this many tasks in one little area?
Probably. Because in between every dungeon, there's always a section where you have to do something just in Hyrule, like whether you're helping somebody or doing some kind of escort mission or some shit. There's usually something to do that pushes this, like, nudges the story forward. And I don't know. I mean, I like the way this game is structured. I think it's really good. I don't think it's on the same like tier as something like Majora or Ocarina of Time, but it's close for me. It's like it's only one notch lower on the tier list in my brain. Like, I don't know.
Kun said, my first was Ocarina. I don't remember what order I played them, but Twilight I think was the one coming out when I got into it, to be fair. Well, and I think it also depends on how like impressionable of an age you're at. Because like my brother Victor, I know he played Ocarina first, but it was kind of like my first exposure to Ocarina of Time was watching my eldest cousin play it when I was like 8. And it had a profound impact on me because I had just never seen like a story be good. You know, like I didn't know that stories could have like that much depth and meaning and impact. And so I know my brother Victor would have played Ocarina of Time and probably a little bit of Majora's Mask and a little bit of Wind Waker before this came out. But he was at like exactly the right age. I want to say he was probably 13, maybe even 12 when this game came out, and he played through it, and it was like there's a kind of ego death that you experience, especially when you're young and you're playing a super long game that you're really into, and it's like you kind of get super immersed into that world and forget that anything else exists, you know? And I think this was the first game that gave Victor that experience of like, it's not just a video game that he had heard of because his cousin had played it or because I had played it. It was like a new game he bought, he played, and he thought was the greatest game ever, you know?
Yeah.
And for a very long time, this was Victor's favorite game. I don't know if that's still the case. It could be. I don't know how he feels about it today, because he mostly plays games like Hades now, you know, like totally a different genre, different style. But to me, this game hits the same way that like watching Gurren Lagann does when you're 14, you know? Like that feeling of just being kind of overwhelmed by the scale of it and the, you know, conceptual depth, and it being something that's like relatable when you're young, but also deals with enough adult themes that it makes you feel like you're coming of age through the experience, you know? Yeah. It's challenging enough to be like, wow, I really overcame something, you know? Like, I really had to try to beat this game. But before an age where you're like, I'm looking for Dark Souls, you know? Like, punish my balls off, please. Like,
yeah. I mean, I got significantly more autistic about Zelda games when I was around 15 or 16, I think. It was whenever Skyward Sword came out. And I rented that and thought it was like the coolest shit on earth. For some reason, it just like blew my fucking mind. I guess because it was like Ocarina of Time, but new. And I don't know, I was easily impressed by motion controls. And then there was also Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, which made me heavily, you know, realize just how fucking good that game was. So I was pretty much obsessed for the next decade or so. Like, Zelda was my shit. I played like all the 3D Zeldas 100 times each. I'm very familiar with them, though not this particular version of this game, because I had Twilight Princess on the Wii. So it was all backwards and it controlled weird, and this is just a little jank, but in a good way to me. This feels comfy. I was just freaking out trying to figure out the fishing controls there. I did not realize that I had to move the control stick down to reel in the fish. That felt very unintuitive to me. Okay, so
I'm like the world's biggest Minish Cap fan. I think that might be... I don't know if it's my favorite Zelda, but it was the first one I actually beat. Because it's relatively short and not that hard, and you could do it in like 2 afternoons. Well, you could do it in 1 afternoon, but I think when I was like, 13, 14, I did it in a couple afternoons and was like, this fucking rules. Like, this gave me it was the first time, actually reaching the end, and I just love the idea of going through an environment and then going through it in a different way and seeing it from a new perspective has always really fascinated me. And like Ocarina of Time does that as well with the past and future thing, but with the Minish Cap it's much more immediate, where it's like you walk into a house and then you see, oh, there's a little hole in the wall, I wonder what's in there if I go in shrunk, and then you have to kind of figure out how you're going to make that happen, and then you do it and you discover, oh, there's this whole other world inside the walls, and like that always appealed to me very strongly.
That sounds really sick, and I do plan on playing that one. I already own a copy of it. I was gonna get
Wait,
to
you've
that
never
one
played
after
the Minish Cap? I forgot this. I'm
Yeah.
sure I've heard you say this before, but
I've
that kind of blows my mind.
I mean, I just got the other ones that are on Game Boy. I played Link's Awakening very recently, loved that one, and I've been working my way through Oracle of Seasons slowly but surely. So once I get through those, I'm gonna play Minish Cap. But yeah, I don't know. I think when I was younger, I forgot to mention what also solidified Zelda as like the best franchise ever in my mind, was that it was also my introduction to playing like games that are older than myself. Because I went on the Wii's eShop and got The Legend of Zelda for $5, 500 Wii points. And I was shocked and amazed to find out that despite being prehistoric, that game is really fucking fun.
Yeah, Link's Awakening?
No, the original, the first Zelda.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, Zelda 1 rules. It holds up incredibly well.
Yeah, and depending on who you talk to, like, different people give you different opinions. Like, I don't think it holds up at all, it's too cryptic and shit. And like, I think it's kind of a perfect game. There's maybe 1 or 2 moments where it's really obtuse what to do next, but okay, that's just not gonna work. Fucking bird.
So okay, I want to know your opinion on this. Like, are you the type of person who like will never consult a strategy guide or like anything like that on your first playthrough?
No. I will look up strategy guides and even spoilers if I feel like I need to in order to get the most enjoyment possible out of a thing. Like,
yeah.
I was someone who looked up a walkthrough on Undertale when I got stuck, even though making mistakes in Undertale is like part of the narrative. I don't fucking care. I'm not going to play this linear dialogue-heavy game 5 times trying to get it right just to get the pacifist ending. That's fucking stupid.
See, I think that is both normal and rational and correct. Like, that is the type of person who's like, oh, I'd never look up a guide. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, who are you trying to prove something to? What are you trying? Like, no one is going to give you extra credit for that, like, and I understand some people just have like a pride about it, and like it just always comes off as really gatekeepy to me when people are like, oh, well, I didn't have to use a guide. It's like, okay, good for you, like, I like to have time. And like with Zelda 1, like when it came out, then like the expectation would not have been that you have a ton of video games vying for your time, or even anything in the realm of The Legend of Zelda. It was literally one of a kind. It's the only game like that existed. And so if you liked that game, it was reasonable to think you were going to spend hundreds of hours on it. Like, it, like something like The Lost Woods is like, in modern times, there's no way you would not look up a guide to do that. Like, no sane person is gonna be like, no, I'm gonna keep trying every combination of running through these fucking doors until I get it right. Because it's inane. It's not like a fun challenge. But at the same time, if I'm imagining myself being like totally immersed in this game, it's the only one of its kind. It's the only game I'm playing. I probably would have done that, you know, in the 80s. Like that wouldn't have been unreasonable to think somebody would do. Now you could look up a guide. You know, you could find the Nintendo Power that had the instructions of how to do this. And I'm sure a lot of people who actually finished Zelda 1 did that at the time, you know. But like considering now you know, I watched my husband Bird play through all of Zelda 1. If you go over to the Bird Friends Play YouTube channel, which I think he's going to start cross-streaming, because right now he's streaming to Twitch on Bird Friends Play, and I think he wants to start doing on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. But on the Bird Friends Play channel, we have the complete edited playthrough of Zelda 1. And it took him like almost 30 hours to beat, even with a guide. You know, even with like constant hand holding.
Yep.
But when I was watching him play that, I downloaded an app. There's a full-on app that has like an interactive map with everything labeled. And like, it's fun. Like, it's a fun toy. Like, the app in and of itself is a fun app. And like, it made the game like playable at all for him, but also fun for me as the person with the map, like telling him what to do, you know? Because growing up, I would print out strategy guides for all these games on GameFAQs and read them to my cousin or my brother. So, like, in my mind, Zelda's always been a guide-driven game. It's always been a game where you're probably going to have to look up what to do if you're not, like, incredibly determined to play this day after day after day, and it's, like, your only thing. But it's, like, you know, if you have to, like, try to knock this game out in a few after-school sessions before, you know, before you have to do something else in life, like, then yeah, look up a fucking guide. Like, not everybody has time to toil at it, you know, until they figure it all out.
Yeah, I stopped taking that stuff, like the whole, I never use a guide. I stopped taking that shit seriously. Like, I'm not ashamed of that at all, since I looked at howlongtobeat.com and saw that apparently everyone on Earth takes like 20 hours longer to finish games than I do.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not even rushing. I think everyone else is just like, I don't know. I don't want to say other people are incompetent because that's mean. It's just like other people are clearly playing these games differently than I am, and I don't know what I'm doing different.
I definitely think the how long to beat times are, even for me, I usually am under what is the time, but like it is also accounting for like an average. So it's probably that there's a few people who took forever and it like used the time, you know.
That makes more sense.
But they'll also usually, if you check, it'll say like what the minimum time was and the maximum time was on there. But yeah, the Zelda games average like 20 hours each, I think, and then this one's like 30 to 40 or something like that.
Yeah, this one takes me about 30 on average. Okay, so I got the slingshots, so I can go talk to the babies.
Aphrodite says, I can never get into this game. Something always stops me from playing it. For me, it's just how much cutscene there is. And, like, because there's a lot of moments, like we've seen so far in this village, where you literally are in a cutscene and then you walk, like, 10 steps and another cutscene starts.
Yeah.
And I'm always just like, why did I even get control back? Just do the whole cutscene at once, you know? Or parts where, like, There's moments in this game, I remember specifically one that had pissed me off so badly, where, like, it gives you control, but you have to walk forward into the next cutscene. Like, if you try to run to the side, there's, like, invisible walls. Like, it's trapped you in that space. So I was just like, why give me the ability to walk around if I can actually only just walk forward into the next cutscene, you know?
Why is this so much easier to control than the Wii U version? Does the Wii U just have bad thumbsticks? What the fuck?
What are you playing with?
Oh, I'm playing with my GameCube colored 8-bit Do controller.
Oh.
It's very nice. It's very fancy. I'm just cool like that. Unfortunately, I don't have an adapter to plug in a real GameCube controller like I had for the N64 games, but that's okay.
Crystalline Foe says, I feel like I'm always over the time to beat. I always min-max to the point it loops back to being unoptimal, which that also makes sense to me. I think, because I tend to play games in the most straightforward way that I can get away with.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely know what you mean. Because Shade will do stuff like that. Shade almost never plays like a straightforward game like this. He mostly plays games that are about min-maxing, like Path of Exile. You know, like that's like his favorite game. But yeah, I can imagine like if you're super dedicated to, you know, grinding to allocate points to get the right build to, you know, do exactly this one specific thing, that would definitely make the game longer. I'm always just like, put all my points into strength and vitality.
That's pretty much me too. Yeah, I will only engage with the optional stuff in a game so long as it entertains me. Like, I have to be really enjoying a game to want to thoroughly explore every part of it. Like with Breath of the Wild, I kind of did that, where I tried to just cover as much of the map as humanly possible and do every single shrine. It was just because I was having a really good time, and because the game was kind of built that way for you to just play it at your own pace and do whatever you want. Conversely, I recently plowed through Tears of the Kingdom, and I did that for like 2 days, just running all over the map, checking off the things on the checklist, doing all the stuff that looked interesting, and flying right over all the shit I didn't care about. And then I spent another 2 days just plowing through the story all in one go, which was really fucking funny, because you're clearly not expected to engage with it that way. And Tears of the Kingdom's narrative was written and structured in a way that makes no fucking sense if you play it that way. Just watching all of the NPCs turn into total morons because they didn't realize. Like, we have to find Princess Zelda. Where did Princess Zelda? I have known for 30 hours. Know exactly where she is. Fucking goofy shit.
I have actually not played Tears of the Kingdom at all yet.
It's really fun, but it's too familiar for me.
I wanted to wait till it had been long enough that I don't remember Breath of the Wild that well anymore. Because that's pretty much the complaint I've heard from a lot of people, is like, oh yeah, I made the mistake of replaying Breath of the Wild right before Tears of the Kingdom, and then
that's me.
It became incredibly samey.
Someone said it feels like a ROM hack of Breath of the Wild. That's exactly it. It feels like a really, really good mod and not like a sequel. Like when you go from like Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild, it feels like a huge step forward where it's like, whoa, it's like a whole new world, a whole new game, holy shit, everything's so new and shiny. And Tears of the Kingdom feels more like the same game again, just that they took another crack at it. They said, oh, maybe we can do it a little better this time. It's like, sure, okay, that's fine.
Dingy said, I low-key miss COVID because I would just binge video games. Now I'm at a point where I have real-life stuff, so I can't put as much time as I'd like into games. I totally get what you mean. For me, it was almost the opposite, where, like, up until COVID, I was somebody who spent most of my time indoors and was kind of, like, afraid to go out. And, like, when COVID started was when I started gender transition, and I think I spent more time outside during COVID than anybody else because no one else was out there. So it was just like, oh, I've got like the world to myself. And it was very normal to wear a mask everywhere. So, which like helped with passing a lot, you know, like especially early in transition. So it was like, yeah, I can go anywhere. There's not a bunch of people. Everyone thinks I'm a woman. This is awesome. And then I remember like at the point towards like the end of 2021 where it started to feel like, oh, people are filtering back into society. Oh, wearing a mask is now like weird again. not the same.
Yeah.
But it did a lot for me developmentally to like felt like it was training wheels for participation in society. Like society got easier to be in, so I got to practice at it for a little bit
That's
before
really
I had
funny.
to before it came back in full swing.
Yeah, I was a trucker during COVID, so it didn't really change much about my daily life. I was still going to work and doing the same old stuff. It's just, you know, nobody bothered me about staying inside and playing video games all day. So I discovered, like, you know, six different new hyperfixations during COVID. Got into some new video games. I also took the time to watch the original Full Metal Alchemist anime, which I had never
Full
finished
Metal
before.
Alchemist. Oh god, did you regret that, or did you have a
No.
good time?
No, it was a good time. Like, the Brotherhood is obviously better, you know, but people talk about it like, oh, Brotherhood's so much better, you know, I don't watch that other crappy show. I'm like, it's not even crappy, like, it's fine. It's not as good, it's just, like, it's interesting.
It's funny you say that, because I talk to way more 2003 defenders, but I am, like, the biggest hater of 2003. Because fucking Frank Archer is the worst character I've ever seen in any show.
It's true, he sucks. He's really fucking
Frank
bad.
Archer. And whenever I bring this up, people have to like remember, like a lot of people have to reach into their memories and be like, who was Frank Archer? And I'm like, this is why we can't have this conversation. Like, go watch it again and figure out who Frank Archer is, and you'll understand why I'm so fucking mad.
It's when you start pulling, like, okay, when people think about that show, they're thinking about the cool parts. They're not thinking about all the butthole characters from the last quarter of the show, where it all gets entrenched in slop.
Well, like there's a really cool moment late in where Alphonse gets turned into like a nuclear bomb. And I think a lot of people remember that, and they remember that the ending was like crazy, but I don't think people realize that like Dante sucked. Frank Archer sucked.
I forgot the main villain's name was Dante. Yeah, I hated that reveal. I'm like, this is the final boss character? Really? Okay. It was like some random lady from like 50 episodes ago, but now she's possessed. I don't fucking know. That was lame. But like, I don't know. At the same time, I appreciated that show for being weird and being different, because by then, you know, I was kind of over Brotherhood. Like, it was great. It had its time for me to really love it and be like, this is the best anime ever. But like, it's kind of like the easiest anime to love. Like, it's got something for everyone. And
I'll also say, personally, I think Brotherhood is dramatically overrated. I think a lot of it is just like, I would describe it as point A to point B plot, where it's just like, oh, there's a mystery, and then, oh, we figured out the mystery, but now there's another mystery. Oh, now we figured out that mystery, and like none of them add like anything thematically, or you know, like it's fun to watch. Like it's a bunch of fun things happening. I think it's a good buddy watch show. I think it's a lot harder to just like go back and watch it on your own and care about every single episode. You know, like. There's plenty of it that's just kind of whatever, not that memorable.
Yeah, Brotherhood is excellent because it has such a strong cast of characters, and it's so diverse and so, you know, like it's just kind of a good, fun time. And I don't know, like I can off the top of my head think of like a dozen characters from that show that I'm like, oh yeah, I love that guy. I think, you know, when I jokingly say it has something for everyone, I think that's literally true.
It is definitely the most accessible anime that has ever existed, especially to Westerners.
It's really not challenging. It's really easy to understand what's good about it right away. It's got drama, it's got comedy, it's got adventure, and,
real stakes, real characters die and shit.
And perhaps most importantly, it has a plot that is noticeably planned out way ahead of time, and it's like kind of exciting to see how it all, you know, unfurls. It's got the magic system that feels very rules-based, easy to understand, and
that's a huge part of its success too. Like Bird is always insisting that that is the best magic system because it's very clear what and why things are happening. But at the same time though, like Yeah, law of equivalent exchange, whatever. A lot of bullshit happens in that show that
Yeah.
like is, nobody sat there and mathed out actually,
Motherfucker
what would be
swallowed
the
God.
yeah. I want to bring up Caribou Kun said Tears of the Kingdom was like crack for me because you uncover the depths map by activating all the light spots which are underneath all the shrine spots. I don't know what that means.
Wait, what the fuck are we talking about? Talking about Zelda or
Tears of the
anime?
Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom. You uncover the depths map by activating all the light spots that are underneath the shrine spots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I
in
don't know
Tears
what
of
that
the Kingdom,
means.
there's a whole like lower layer to the map that's deep underground, and it's really cool when you first discover it because you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck? I can just go down here and it looks like Nausicaa. That's crazy." And then as you slowly start exploring more and more of it and lighting up all of the light routes that let you see where the fuck you're going, you slowly start to realize the whole entire map looks exactly the same, and all of the depths are like have no. There's just not a lot to discover down there. That's interesting.
That feeling, the initial feeling you described, Elden Ring did that beautifully.
Yeah.
Where like the first time you go underground, you're just like, no way. Like
Yeah.
this map already seems so preposterously large, and then you find out that there's an amount of extra to it that you can't even fathom.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing too, is that the depths were completely not shown in any of the marketing for Tears of the Kingdom. It was just, I guess that was also the case in Elden Ring, but yeah, that was why it was so cool. It was so shocking to just find that. All they had shown off in the trailers were the Sky Islands, and it was kind of disappointing to realize there weren't a ton of those either. Like, they're kind of small and spread out.
Dingy said my favorite anime is Steins Gate, and that's another one that I personally feel has not aged as gracefully as I would have hoped. But just in the sense that like I think it's a very believable cast of young adults, and like once I became like an older adult, that I was just like, oh, these characters act really young in a way that like isn't entertaining to me anymore. Like in my mind it was like a very like adult sci-fi show, but like a lot of the appeal is just like, hey, these are like a bunch of young adults hanging out and like just being, like a 19-year-old circa 2009, 2007 really is more like the vibe of it. But a lot of it feels very time and place. I tried watching it with Bird, and he did not like it at all. He was getting nothing out of it.
Yeah, Steins Gate is one of those that was... I watched it at the perfect age. I think I was like 19 or 20, and I thought it was amazing, and I loved it, and I have not gone back to it since, and I'm probably going to keep it that way, because... Especially now that I know there's that one character that's like implied to be trans and gets like groped or whatever. I'm like, I don't need to see that,
Yeah,
It happens a
the
lot.
trans character is handled very awkwardly because there's a lot of odd stuff about the way that story plays out, and like I don't think it's the worst trans representation I've seen in anime, but it definitely feels awkward as fuck to go back to.
Yeah. I agree that it's not the worst I've seen, but that's only because when it comes to anime and trans characters, the bar is so low it's in hell.
Yeah.
That happened a lot after I transitioned. I went back to watch a lot of the old anime that were like my favorite things I'd ever seen, and I just realized every single one has a random aggressively transphobic gag that I had forgotten about because it wasn't funny or unique or interesting.
Well, and I think so part of it is just like the way culture has changed over time, where like I think it used to be that, especially in Japanese culture, like doing anything that is weird or seen as weird socially, like if you want to get away with portraying it at all, you have to make fun of it. And so I do think a lot of that stuff came from a place of love. Like they wanted to express their love for the idea of gender fuckery, but they just would do it in such a like it's that whole like I am weeb like the way that like Trash Cast is, right? Which I don't even think they really do this on that show, but like the energy that comes from, of like, anime is trash and so am I, it leads to a lot of that. It leads to a lot of like almost self-hating representation of like, well, you know, I'm like this and I know I'm weird, so I'm gonna make fun of myself for being like this. And it's like, but what about having pride in yourself for being like this? What if instead of implying that you're a freak and a weirdo for doing this, you implied that you're like cool or normal for doing this, you know, or that this isn't something to be laughed at and made fun of. And, you know, I think there are some people who feel more comfortable in a space where they are like, you know, like, well, I understand that this is socially unacceptable, but as long as I kind of make fun of it, then I feel more comfortable with it. And I'm like, what if we just weren't making fun of it? Or like it wasn't seen as socially unacceptable? Wouldn't that be more nice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I know to some extent it's just the way your ability to describe something is affected by the culture you grow up in. Like, I've heard stories from gay men who grew up in the 70s or 80s or whatever, and there was this one guy who he had like a boyfriend. He was really happy with the way his life was set up, like he was having a great time of it. And when he was in a support group and trying to explain to other people that he was gay and in this relationship, he realized he didn't have the words to tell them that it was a good thing. He only knew how to describe it like it was lonely and miserable, because that's the way everyone talked about gay people back then.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
It's just so fucked. But I would say most of the anime that I had seen growing up that had trans characters in them, or something similar to a trans character, like a femboy, almost every time it felt like dude bro stereotyping and not like it was out of love. There were a few that felt like they were well intentioned but just done badly, like Yu Yu Hakusho being one of those. And then there were just really gross portrayals that make me want to die. And then there's the worst, the in-between, where it's simultaneously the most offensive portrayal I've ever seen, but also objectively the funniest gag character possible, and I can't help but laugh even though it's super transphobic. Which, that example would be, I can't understand what my husband is saying. The main character has his like gender-bent broster, and they never make it clear if this character identifies as a woman or not. They just really, really look and act like a woman, and is very affectionate towards a guy who is very pissed to find out that this person he's dating has a penis. And that sounds awful, but when you're watching it and you're seeing this like portrayal of a degenerate, gender ambiguous character, they're just really funny and cute, and I'm like, I kin them. Like, I don't care that they're like a freaky pervert. It's just funny.
That is exactly what I'm talking about when I say the presentation that's like, obviously the person who drew this loves femboys, you know, like whether it's trans or femboy, because you can't forget femboys are a thing too. That character could just be a femboy, but like,
well, I also think a lot of people writing the stories think those are one and the same. I don't think there's a differentiation.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, and that's another part of it, is that like I think I want to call it, there's like open trans media and then closet trans media, right? Yeah. And I think that the closet portrayals are way more popular for the most part, because I think more people are in the closet than out of it. And like I've said before, sexuality is obviously a spectrum. I don't believe in straight people. I think they're all lying. Like, I don't think it's possible to only be attracted to people of one gender. That doesn't even sound logical. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound logical. It's just like, it's a brand of cultural insanity. To believe that you are straight is to be an illogical person.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I was pressured into believing I was straight for most of my life.
Same. I think most people are. I think there's an intense amount of pressure to identify as straight, and like people will come up with every justification for why their feelings for someone of the same sex isn't the same thing.
Yep.
You know, like, but guys will sit there and say the gayest shit you've ever heard and be like, oh, it's just my bro, you know, like, okay, whatever, dude, like, that's gay. What you're describing is the same way I feel about a guy I'm attracted to. I just am capable of imagining myself being romantic on top of that, you know. And I do think, like, when I say straightness is like a brand of insanity, like, I do think it, I think you actually, like, if you do self-identify as straight, I do think it's possible that you will never be able to talk yourself out of it. Like, it's so deeply ingrained that no matter how gay your feelings might be, you'll never actually act on them, because that would be to transgress against your core belief, you know.
Basically, yeah.
But it's the same way I feel about, like, extremely religious people. It's like there's nothing you can say to them that's going to make them think, oh, this was all bullshit the whole time, because it's the foundation of their identity, you know. Like, they're just going to find a way to take the information you give them and make it comply with the thing they believe. Yeah. So, like, a straight person who really believes they're straight, you know, you could tell them, oh, this is a gay behavior, and they're going to, no, it's straight because the balls don't touch, you know, like, type shit.
And, like, this all might sound really extreme, but, like, my personal experience was believing wholeheartedly that I was a straight guy for, like, 20 plus years, and then once I finally connected the dots and realized there are, in fact, men that I am attracted to, and that it wasn't just a cope, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just so desperate for a girlfriend that I'm looking at guys. Like, it wasn't that at all the whole time. It's just, yeah, I do like men. I just didn't like any of the men in my life before. And it's hard not to have that feeling of, like, so if I could go over 20 years believing that I didn't like guys, and then suddenly I do, how do I know that anyone else is straight? How does anyone else know that they are straight? You know? It's like, you don't really know anything.
28 years saying I was a straight guy, and then, like, in retrospect, I'm like, the way I acted around or towards my guy, like, the feelings I had toward my guy friends were definitely, like, romantic. I just had never had a type, like, it was a long time before I even had a relationship with a woman, you know? And, like, if I reflect on the relationships I had with some of my guy friends, like, the only thing that's different between that and, say, my relationship with Bird is that we fuck, you know? Like,
yeah.
If any of those guys and I had, you know, just decided, oh, maybe I'm not straight, it would have been no different from my gay relationship, you know? Just, there would have been fucking involved. And, like, I'm sure some of those relationships could have involved fucking in retrospect, you know?
And that's the key word, is in retrospect, because it's not like we just suddenly became gay one day after being straight for years and years. Like, we were queer this whole time. We just didn't realize it, which is why I wanted to emphasize, like, anyone on Earth could be queer and just not realize it. It's just, we're all kind of societally, like, bullied into being straight.
Like, I think a lot about that that Family Guy sketch where Tom Cruise is running and he's like, "You can't catch me, gay thoughts."
Yeah.
I think that's most guys. They're literally, like, on the run from the gay thoughts.
That Family Guy bit lives rent-free in my head, because the time that Josh and I watched all the Mission Impossible movies, and every single one has Tom Cruise running, and he looks so funny. Doing the superhero run, going fast as fuck while the camera is tracking him. I love it.
Yeah.
Cafe Sharky says, "Hi, just got the best YouTube refresh poll. Best Zelda."
You know, I shouldn't say that I was 28 when I realized I was not straight, because I had realized when I was 14 looking at posters of this game, and then I started repressing, because, like, when I first went through puberty, I definitely, like, knew I was trans but didn't have any of the terminology for it, didn't know what it meant, thought that being trans meant you had to get surgery or else it's not, like, that's all I thought being transgender was. Like, yeah, you get a surgery and your gender's different, you know? Yep. So the fact that I wanted to wear women's clothes, I kept deeply secret and to myself, you know? And after, like, a year, I just buried all of that. And part of how I buried it was through Evangelion, through projecting onto Shinji and Kaoru this idea that, like, oh, Shinji was just so lonely that he would have taken anybody who would pay attention to him, and therefore he was into a guy. And, like, that was how I wrote off my, you know, my queer feelings from like a year before seeing that show. And I kept that opinion for a very long time. And looking at it now, I'm like, no, Shinji's just bisexual, like
Yeah.
clearly. But you know, I just don't think he'd ever considered anything like that until Kaoru is like incredibly romantic towards him, you know. But like I specifically remember when I was 14, I had a Twilight Princess poster and a Devil May Cry 3 poster over my bed, and those were the first times that I was like, these guys look nice, you know, like I wouldn't
Oh
mind
my
laying my head on
god.
Dante's chest.
Look, it's my wife. The creature.
Oh, you mean Midna?
This is what my character looks like in that game Atlas, the furry game that we played.
Oh yeah, you can totally look. Your character does look just like Midna, actually. In that game.
Just Midna with pink hair. The gremlin.
Cypher says, "I need to be turned into a wolf."
Is that the Gigadonk? Says Nisa.
That's Nia Estelis.
Oh, that was Nia. Oh, I misread. Apologies. Yeah, this is the Gigadonk. If you use the word donk to refer to a butt, then yeah, she has a Gigadonk.
Too bad they can't take this kind of swing ever again. Do you mean like creating Midna or making Link a wolf?
Both, maybe?
I could see them doing, like, at least as a bit in another game, like Link turning into some kind of animal.
I think we talked about
I
this
definitely-
a little bit.
I don't know if they knew how much pornography they were going to create when they made Midna, but at the same time, watching her do that stretch that just there, I was like, they knew what they were doing. Come on. This was on purpose. I definitely think, like, of, like, not that humanoid characters, Midna is probably, like, the most sexualized I've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm like figuring out the controls on this, so it's if I seem a little bit absent-minded at times, that is why, chat. Yeah, I personally I've always felt this, but I feel very strongly if you are making a character that is in a story that you plan to release to the public, you need to be prepared for tons of people to illustrate porn of that character.
Yeah,
And,
you're not going to stop them.
Yeah, if you're upset by it, you know, just get good. Just
Just
good
don't
at the
release
porn.
your content to the public if you don't want that.
Either don't release it or get so good at making the porn yourself that no one else will bother. You can be the one.
Well, and on that note too, like, because I've seen, it's interesting the conversations around Pragmata, because there's people who are accusing that
where is
game
this
of
going?
being like, well, people are accusing it of being like lolicon bait, and it's like, it's just you can't draw you can't make a character that people aren't going to sexualize. It's not their, like, what were they supposed to do? Like, how do you even put a child character in a story without it's going to happen, you know? Like, I don't think that was their intention. I think they knew it would happen, but I don't think that's what they were going for, you know?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I had the same thought when Resident Evil Requiem came out. Like, apparently Capcom made these games have little kid characters in them to try and inspire people to have babies, like make the birth rates go up, so the birth rates are catastrophically low. And you know, like the first thing I heard of Pragmata, how I learned of the game's existence, was that there are predators who are going to be purchasing the game because they have creepy thoughts and desires, and that's why they want it. And
Well,
It's a very
basically,
unfortunate
it's
way
like,
to learn of its existence, but
if you want to avoid that happening, it means that you cannot ever portray children in media at all, you know, which is like, well, okay, what is there then for like the people who are dads and want to? Because like I haven't played that game, but I've heard about it only from the Castle Super Beast podcast, which is Wooly Versus and Pat Stares At, who are both dads of very young children, and they both love the game because it reminds them of their kids.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, when I hear them talk about the game, it's the most wholesome description I've ever heard. I'm like, okay, this game is for these, like, it's for 35-year-old men with kids, you know, like, or who want to have, or to convince you to have kids, you know, if you are that old and you haven't had one yet. So, you know, I can understand where people are going to take a look at it and immediately think, oh, the perverts are going to have a field day with this one. But it's like, the perverts have a field day with everything. They're perverts. That's what they do, you know?
I think what upsets me about Pragmata is just looking at the poster for it and seeing the child character's design, and it's just like, she's the most perfect, adorable little princess. She's the perfect fucking child. She's an angelic, like, I don't know, little blonde white kid, and I'm like, this is just weird to me. It's like...
You know she's a robot, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes it a little more bearable, but it's just fucking weird to me. It's like, oh, we crafted this, like, simulation of the perfect baby.
I thought the same thing you did until I found out she's a robot, and I was like, oh, that makes sense then. Yeah. You know, like, if it was a human kid, then I'd be like, okay, this is a bit, like, much.
It's
but
cringy, yeah.
She's, just... like, her purpose is that she, like, can hack the enemies. So, like, she rides around on your back and, like, does long-distance hacking for you, and, like, the mechanics is, like, switching between using her to hack and using the guy to fight type shit.
I see. You know, if there's gonna be a kid character in my game, I prefer it be like
the ugliest, snottiest, most bratty.
It doesn't even have. No, it doesn't have to be like. They don't have to be a little shit. I just want them to just be a kid, you know. Just like they can fuck up and make mistakes and be awkward and cringy sometimes. Like it's okay. I don't need this little perfect angel baby to be like, I love you so much. Look, I made a drawing for you. I'm like, this is fucking fake and gay. Like I'm not. It's just stupid. Actual
For what it's
kids
worth,
are
Capcom
difficult.
pretty much only does like the most idealized characters they can. Like, if you think about Resident Evil, everyone's like a hunk or like incredibly hot. Like,
yeah, Grace and Leon are perfect beings. The ultimate life form is Leon Kennedy all along. You know, but I have played The Last of Us and I've played God of War 4, and the children characters in those are perfect because they fuck up a lot and they say fuck, and they're not. They don't feel like fake-ass perfect angels.
Zinc Tracer said, only game that ever made me want a kid was Death Stranding 2 TBH, which comes from the same school of thought of, we gotta make these Japanese people start having babies. We were just talking about this in Discord earlier, but there's a video from the channel Resonant Arc about how not only has the Japanese birth rate been in decline for some time, but this year is particularly scary for it, because it is the year of the fire horse, and according to superstition, a girl born during the year of the fire horse will be like a completely unruly girl or something like that. And like in the 1960s was the last time there was a year of the fire horse, and back then their childbirths were like out of control, booming, except for in the fire horse year there was like this steep, insane decline in birth rate that jumped right back up the next year. So, like, literally people were so scared of having a daughter during Year of the Fire Horse that the birth rate, like cut down by, like, a third for 1 year and then bounced back. So, they already have a declining birth rate in Japan, so this year threatens to be, like, the worst ever if the superstition stays alive, which obviously people are way less superstitious now than in the 60s, but nonetheless, there is a desperation on the part of the Japanese government to, like, get people thinking about making kids again. And Capcom, I think that video said that they literally were subsidized towards this end. Like, the government has literally paid media to, like, put fucking
please Capcom,
propaganda.
you have to make the video game where you have the little mechanical perfect and the perfect Aryan child that never complains or shits her pants. You must. inspire everybody to make the perfect baby game. Then they will make perfect babies in real
Can that kid even
life.
poop? If it's a robot, probably can't even poop. That's not a realistic child.
It just makes me think all those bizarre fucking toy commercials you'd see on TV, where like everything was heavily segregated by gender on the television. Every commercial for a toy that was for boys was like, "Whoa,
God.
boogers, farting, yucky, stinky,
Yeah.
kill your sister," and then and then all of the girl toys were like, "Oh, it's the realistic real life baby doll actually craps its pants, so you have to fucking."
I really do think that shit created more transness than anything. Because, like, fundamentally, I would consider myself a gender abolitionist. I think that the concept of gender is dumb and, like, we should stop. But I also identify as female because society puts into your head an idea of here's what a boy likes, here's what a girl likes. And when I was a kid, all the commercials for boys stuff were like, ugh, what the fuck? Why? And all the commercials for girls stuff was like, oh, that's cute. If only I was a girl, I could play with that, you know? Like,
I thought the girl toys were heinous because they were like, it was either like a Barbie doll that has like a cool car, and that's the whole toy. It's just look how nice her car is, so pretty.
True.
Or it was like
thinking more about,
simulating being a housewife, like play with the baby doll that you have to stay up all night like feeding it and changing its diapers, and you have like the little plastic play kitchen where you pretend to make sandwiches. Like those were
I
girl toys
remember
like to me.
specifically the commercials where it was like the realistic babies. I thought that was the coolest shit. Like just the fact that it was like, because it seemed vaguely alive, and I was like, I didn't understand how they did that. You know, like there was the ones that could like shed real tears. They'd be like, the baby cries real tears. I'm like, how the fuck how'd they get that in there? How'd they make that possible? Like, I was fascinated by that, and you know, I definitely think that if I had self-identified as a woman from the beginning, I would have been the like motherhood is the only goal like type of a person.
That's
Which I only
interesting.
recently finally have kind of set, because like when I started transition, I was like kind of traumatized by the realization that like I can't have a baby. Like you know, if I literally can't grow a baby inside of myself. I would have to have a kid with someone, and even then, if I, you know, stay on hormones, like I will become sterile, you know. So, like realizing I was never going to have a baby made me think, okay, well, I actually think it's more responsible to like adopt, you know, like take care of the kids that already exist who need help.
For
you
sure.
know?
Yeah.
But I'm not ready at all in a social responsibility sense to be raising a kid. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna try to raise a child. I'll just try to help out people who are like orphaned, you know, like people who are adults or who don't fit into society. Like I want to kind of try to take care of people who I see as like my, you know, spiritual children, like people who grew up in the same kind of internet environment space as me. And so I've been trying to be, you know, I made that video, Your Mom Online, that was basically about this. Like, I'm trying to be the internet's mom. But I had to stop. I had to stop doing that because it's not, I can't actually be your mom from a distance. You know, like, it would be different if there was somebody I actually lived with that I was, like, being motherly towards. But, like, you can't have a healthy motherly relationship with somebody over the internet. And, you know, I put too much stock in it. Like, I poured too much emotion into this idea that I need to be the internet mom. And it's like, when I realize that I can't really do that much, it's just disappointing, you know? And I feel like I've held myself to too high of a standard or expected too much from myself in that regard. So I'm trying to chill on all that.
Yeah.
I'm over the trauma for now.
That's good. I personally have never felt a strong urge to have children. I've never particularly wanted kids of my own, and when I do interact with a kid of like one of my friends, I tend to default to having more of an older sibling attitude than a parental attitude. I'm much more of a, like, you know, just kind of hang out type of person. Not like
Yeah.
I don't think I have a lot of wisdom to impart onto a kid, you know?
Well, and I don't think parenting is just about like imparting wisdom as much as it is about like keeping them from fucking up.
Yeah.
You know, like seeing that someone's about to make a mistake and being like, don't do that, you know.
Or also being there for them when they do make a mistake anyway, because they do that regardless.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the part where it's like, it's difficult, where it's like, I could tell somebody from a distance, like, hey, I wouldn't do that, but like not being there to really, like, I can't actually be there for someone in that case. You know, like if they do fuck it up, then it's like, well, I warned you, you know.
Yeah.
but I can't be like that present. I'm also just somebody who is not that present, you know, in general. Like I have a hard time showing up for stuff, so
Me too.
which is something I'm working on with all these live streams I've got scheduled out.
You do have a lot. You have a lot going on.
Well, not really. A lot of it's just Bird's live streams that are like my schedule is like half me, half Bird.
Yeah.
That I've been posting up.
Well,
Bird
actually,
streamed
you're
for
helping out
9
with that, right?
hours yesterday.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
He was playing Assassin's Creed Shadows for
Getting
9
AFAB
straight
numbers.
hours. He modded everybody in chat. It was a glorious time.
Everybody in chat.
Yeah.
That's epic.
Well, we only had 4 people, but, you know,
Okay.
it was fun. If y'all don't follow twitch.tv/birdfriendsplay or the Bird Friends Play YouTube channel, he's going to be streaming a whole lot. I'm planning to start Disco Elysium tomorrow on my main channel. And now we got Slime Dolls revived. I don't know if we're going to keep this to like specifically Thursdays, but that would work for me.
I'd be good with doing like 2 of these a week if you wanted to.
I will look at where I can make that happen
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
once I plan out next week's schedule.
Yeah.
But I think it should be possible. I don't think I have anything that I'm doing on Mondays yet. If that's a day you can do it.
Yeah, I think I can do any day of the week, really. This game... I feel like this game doesn't really contribute a lot of new ideas to the series. Like, there's not a lot in this game that wasn't already done before. But I do think this game did a very good job of refining the Zelda formula, and it just has a really... It's just really consistently good throughout. And you just know that this is someone's favorite game of all time because of the particular aesthetic choices of having a furry and an imp creature as the main characters.
And this whole gothic kind of world, like digital goth, I have always looked at this as, like, the way it marries like old castles with all this weird kind of like pixelated shit flying around. It's definitely super unique.
Yeah. Funny enough, I think the worst parts of this game are when it relies too hard on being a Zelda game. Because when you leave the Twilight world and everything goes back to normal, and it's still all brown and all of the human characters look like they look like illustrations from a storybook, but they're rendered as if they're supposed to be realistic. It's really fucking weird.
Agreed.
But, you know, I still just love the shit out of this game. I don't know what it is. I think it's the sound design, the music, the moodiness of the whole thing, and just it
Brody
being
said,
so
God, I
consistently
love
fun."
the OST, and
Yeah.
the music is fucking great.
Yeah.
Music is always great in Zelda. That's the one thing they've never fumbled on.
Yeah. I was kind of
At
shocked.
least I don't think so.
I
I haven't played all of them.
I've been playing Skyward Sword on my Switch. Now that I'm finished with Tears of the Kingdom, I moved on to Skyward Sword, which I'd not touched in nearly a decade. I forgot that the soundtrack for that game was fully orchestrated. It's fucking awesome. Skyward Sword has perhaps the most underrated soundtrack. God damn. I was listening to the Ballad of the Goddess, which is like that game's main theme, and I found out if it's played in reverse, it's Zelda's Lullaby.
Oh, nice.
And it still sounds really fucking good.
You know what's been tripping me out is Bird watches a lot of like YouTube shorts and stuff. And the amount of times that he's watching like an Elden Ring thing and the music is all Ocarina of Time music, like it's astounding. Because every time I immediately like, oh, that's Saria's song, and I'm like, Bird has no idea what that is. Like he's not considering that at all. It's not entering his mind at all. But I'm just like, I'm hearing Zelda music. I look at the screen and it's just some game, like literally any game. It's like just one of those, and it's never like the version from the game. It's always like an orchestral arrangement or some kind of cover or something, but it's almost always Ocarina of Time music just showing up everywhere. I have to think there's way more people who have heard Saria's song than have ever played Ocarina of Time.
Squirrel. I'm talking to a squirrel. This game is cute. I forgot that you can talk to animals when you're in wolf form. I always forget that. I think if you try talking to the horse, she just says something like, "You can't ride me in this form, Link."
Cowtools asked if Bird would be on YouTube also. Yeah, we're probably going to set up Restream so that it's on the Bird Friends Play YouTube and Twitch channels. It has only been Twitch so far, and he still needs to get 9 more followers to get to that affiliate qualification, which is very easy to hit. It's like 50 followers, 6 unique streams, and like a consistent 3 viewers at least, which I think he's already done the other 2 requirements. So as soon as he hits 50 followers, we can apply for affiliate. So everybody go follow Bird Friends Play on Twitch, god damn it. Do you have a Twitch, Krona?
No. I mean, I have an account so I can comment on other people's stuff, but I do not stream on Twitch. I don't understand the culture enough, and I don't care to find out. Just not my wheelhouse.
The culture is something I've never really come to grasp either. I've been trying to watch more streams just to like get a better sense of what they're like.
Yeah. Because
on Twitch you can just scroll through streams like you're on Shorts, like on your phone. Like doing it on desktop I'm never sure like what should I click on, you know, like, and then it hits me with a 30-second ad and I'm just like, oh no, like I just wanted to see what the stream is like. Why do I have to watch an ad before I even find out if this is an interesting channel, you know? And it's always 30 fucking seconds of ads. But on mobile Twitch you can just scroll through.
Subway Surfer style shit on the screen.
I never see any of that. I have not seen any of that. Twitch serves me pretty much exclusively VTubers and like, you know, whatever games are really popular at the time, like a whole lot of Arc Raiders and a whole lot of VTubers. But I have not seen any Subway Surfer type like stuff like that. It's usually people who are either really into the game or like really into the like communicating with the audience. Like those are the 2 kind of angles I've seen. But again, I haven't seen that much. Like I'm pretty new to it. I'm just kind of scrolling through stuff to see what people are doing, but I usually get bored really quick. Just skip along.
Yeah, I have to be in a really particular mindset to enjoy live streams. Like, I don't know. The number one way to enjoy them is to just be really tired from work. That's the best way to do it. It's just, I'm physically and mentally exhausted, and I don't want to look at, you know, I don't want to look at some shitty social media app, so I will watch someone stream a thing for like 3 hours.
It's strange that like, yeah, people in our chat are all saying like, yeah, I don't really watch streams either except for my friends, and I'm like, maybe it's just because we are YouTubers that we haven't attracted the kinds of people who watch streams besides ours, but like I've never met somebody who like primarily watches streams. but there's clearly a fuckload of them. Because you go on Twitch and there's like hundreds of thousands of people watching at any given moment. So it's just like, where are these people? Where do they come from? How do I find them? You know, like.
Yeah.
And every time I ask people about like what streams they watch, they always get cagey about it. Like nobody ever wants to admit who they follow on Twitch, which is also very aggravating. It's like, I just want to check it out and see if I like it. And it's always like, I don't, you know.
That's so funny.
Right.
I think the first time I ever watched a fucking VTuber, it was just because he was already a YouTuber that I kind of liked. So I was like, oh yeah, I can like hang out in his chat and see what he's up to. And then, yeah, I don't know. He pretty consistently plays games that I don't find remotely interesting. So I show up in chat for like half an hour and then leave most days. But I've shown up enough times that he remembers my username, so that's neat. It's just weird. It's consistently frustrating to me because it feels like trying to socialize with people in the most like lopsided way possible. Or, like there's a couple people in the chat that I see every now and again who I recognize. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, it's like you follow a streamer for years and years, and they'll just be like, oh, hey, you're that one guy, not my friend, but I know you're that one guy. Like, yeah. So fucking weird.
Cowtool said, I think the audience for streaming is mostly young, and I don't think that's entirely true. And like the more I think about it, I think in part, like I probably watch more streams than I'm really thinking about, but it's just that they're all from people who I also watch YouTube videos of. Like there's a few streams that I'll watch when they're on, but I'm more likely to just catch the VOD later, or like it's just a YouTuber I watch and then occasionally I pop into their streams. But I am inundated with enough YouTube content that I can typically fill my whole day with YouTube videos, you know? So like there's just not really room to throw on a stream, and like with a stream you never know what you're gonna get if you're not like already familiar with that person, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like I could develop that familiarity. I just haven't figured out who do I want to be watching, you know, like who are the streamers that I would enjoy watching. I definitely don't think it's like all young people though. I think it probably leans that way just because it's a newer technology, in the same way that YouTube skews towards like people in their late 20s, you know, like I feel like I'm somewhat old for a YouTube viewer just because like I got in early and I've been, you know, like I've been a part of YouTube since before it was cool, but like it got cool at a time when like most of the people who got into it were in high school, you know, and now they're in their late 20s or early 30s, but there's not a ton of people who like think of YouTube as like an endemic part of life who were born before me, you know. Like there's older people who obviously got into it and have stayed into it, or like make YouTube videos, but I think all of them very much have that early adopter kind of status. Whereas the people in their 20s, it's just like, well, YouTube existed practically their entire lives, so they just take it for granted that that's a type of content. And I think streaming is a little younger in that sense of like, I don't think people above like 25 have taken it for granted that streaming is just an obvious part of life, you know? And that's why the audience seems younger. But there's definitely still those like early adopters and the kinds of people who have been watching it since the beginning. My brother Shade has definitely watched a lot more streams than YouTube videos, I think. But he was really into it at a time before he started having like, you know, working all the time and doing his own streams, and like I think he's mostly watched friends of his that were trying to launch streaming careers, you know, and he's their only audience type thing.
Yeah.
And I know Victor watches Hassan. I don't know if he watches him live or if he just like watches clips. But Vic and Hope were complaining about on the latest podcast they did about how like Hassan just streams so much that he's like his mind has become corroded by by being in E-Celeb and like being way too terminally online.
Yikes. I didn't realize Vic and Hope posted again. I need to find that.
Yeah. They've been once a month doing their... They've been watching a film every single day all year, and every month they've done a review of all the movies they watched in the last month. And each one is like 4 hours long.
Awesome. Yeah, I listened to the first one of those, and I don't think YouTube's been pushing me the newer ones. I didn't realize they posted more. I gotta fucking fix that shit. Fix your shit, YouTube.
Yeah.
I want to watch Vic and Hope. Fuck you.
Do you check your subscriptions tab?
From time to time.
Okay.
Not consistently.
I camp in my subscriptions tab. I think that's what makes me different from almost all other YouTube viewers is I never use related videos at all. Like, as soon as I finish a video, I click on subscriptions again to see if something new has come out. And then when I am out of stuff to watch in my subscriptions, I go to home tab and I will fucking exhaustively search for something I want to watch, which YouTube's algorithm's never been that, like, it's good at finding things that topically make sense that I would be interested in it, but not actually videos I want to watch. Like, because it tends to be that it just tries to show me exactly the same thing as what I just watched. And I'm like, I want everything but that. Like, give me everything that is the opposite of something I literally just watched. Like, it's so determined to lock you in and, like, put you in a box, and I hate that. All the algorithms, I hate that.
Yeah.
I wish they all were, like, experimenting and trying to show me new shit all the time.
I got my feed showing me new shit last night before bed. It was, like, hard to go to sleep because it kept showing me stuff. I was like, I kind of want to see that video now. None of it was stuff I normally watch, which I thought was kind of neat, but none of it was anything I wanted to subscribe to. It was one of those things like YouTube shows me a video, and in isolation, that's really interesting, and I check out their channel to see what else they post, and it's just the same video 100 times. It's like,
Cowtool said, I love Vic and Hope, but the thumbnails make it easy to miss and don't communicate that those vids are about movies. I don't think they are trying at all to reach a new audience. Like, I think they're pretty much like, hey, if you watch Vic and Hope, you either watch all of it by course or you just don't care, you know, like, and they usually spend like 40 minutes before they even get to the first movie. Like, they'll be talking about just whatever for like a long while before they start talking about the movies.
Be right back. Got a turlet.
I can only do streams of people whose vibe I really enjoy. Otherwise, I need a clip to just get the point. Which, yeah, I think that's... I want to say that's how everybody probably gets into streams, right? Like, you probably see a few clips, and then you go, oh shit, this seems funny, or like, this guy seems cool, I'll check him out. But like, I don't know, I guess I've never experienced that through, like, I have yet to see a streamer clips and go, oh, I gotta watch that, you know? And like, I know Bird, for instance, will just watch clips. Like he's seen a shitload of Burnt Peanut clips, who's like one of the bigger streamers. I have never seen him go to watch Burnt Peanut live. Not once have I seen him go, oh, Burnt Peanut's live, I'm going to watch that. Like, he will watch the highlight clips as they come up on his feed in YouTube Shorts, you know, but he's never checking into a live stream. So, like, I think there must be a level of pipelining that works, but like, myself and a lot of other people I know who have made YouTube Shorts where we like took a clip from one of our videos and put it on Shorts, no matter how many clicks that short gets, it never translates to click through. Like, I've never seen it be like, oh, I got a whole lot of views on this short and then a whole lot of people came to the main video. It tends to be that people just watch the short, or they'll watch all of your shorts and then they fuck off. And I think it's because there's just a type of person who watches shorts, you know, like Bird sits there and scrolls on shorts for hours at a time. I never do that. Like, once in a blue moon, I will
Have a
be like,
cat.
wow, I've really got nothing going on. And like my shorts feed will be like 3 channels. It's just like showing me everything they've got until I've exhausted it, you know. Those 3 channels will be Red Bull, Blumenek, which is a guy who just does archery, and fucking Sean Grows, which is just a guy explaining like how every plant has a deeper history than you would realize. Like, and that's it. That's all the shorts I'll be fed.
I have a cat.
It also always tries to push me skateboard tricks. I'm like, I don't skateboard. I don't really care about skateboarding, but I guess a few times I've watched someone do a cool skateboard trick, so now it's like skateboards infinitely.
Yeah.
Which cat is that? Is that Anakin?
This is Ruben.
That's Ruben.
I don't think Ruben's
Hello,
been on the
Ruben.
internet before. Say hello to Ruben, everybody. He's the new baby. We've had him for a few months now, but he's relatively new. He's named after a sandwich. Oh, Mr. Sandwich Cat. He's very sweet. Moosh. He's also the hungriest cat who ever lived. He is constantly yelling at me for food. I just got up to go to the bathroom, and on my way out of the bathroom, he looked at me and said, meow, and then rubbed his face on the food bowl. It's not his food time yet. It is not time for dinner.
Brody said mukbang shorts. Or mukbang, that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. Everybody says mukbang, but it's mukbang. I looked it up.
Mukbang.
You saying that made me realize, because like Bird was telling me I need to take clips from his streams, and there have been a few where we were, you know, it wasn't like mukbang as in eat as much food as possible, but technically mukbang literally is just like a portmanteau of the words eating and like stream or something like that in Korean, or broadcast, eating broadcast. So anytime Bird starts eating something on stream, I start chanting mukbang, mukbang, mukbang. So I gotta take those clips. We had a really good clip of him yesterday where there's a part in Assassin's Creed Shadows where you like meet this dog and there's some people who have been like abusing the dog, so you get to murder all of them and protect the dog, and he was just so excited about the dog. It's like, alright, you gotta get this clip. I also need to clip a part where neurotyping came up, and Bird was trying to get me to like neurotype him because he doesn't know anything about it, but particularly comparing him to characters from fiction. Like, what characters do I have the same neurotype as? And you know, we're going through some anime, we're going through stuff, and I finally get to MCU, and I'm like, well, I gotta label you as an MCU, and I ended up being like, well, it's gotta be Deadpool, right? And he was just like, Deadpool? No! He's a fucking dork! And I'm like, you're a fucking dork! And like, I spent like 5 minutes arguing with him why he is obviously Deadpool. And he was just like, everybody wants to be Deadpool. And I was like, you know who doesn't want to be Deadpool? Deadpool.
That's so true. Oh my god. I've been thinking about Deadpool a lot lately because I heard the Deadpool music playing in a Taco Bell the other day.
You mean the NSYNC song, or
No, the other one,
which
the
Deadpool?
the blowjob song. Life is a mystery. Everyone wants to. Wait, shit. How does it go again?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah. Everybody stands alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels like home. And then Wolverine puts on his iconic mask from the comic book that he never wore in a movie before, and that one guy in my theater tried to start an applause and nobody went for it, and so he awkwardly stopped clapping.
I've heard that happen a couple of times. It's fucking hilarious.
The funniest shit of all time. Like, no one else in the theater gave a fuck. Wolverine put his mask on. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And I looked over at the other people in the theater. I see one guy go. Just got all sad. Like, Jesus Christ.
On the topic of mukbangers, I cannot. Watching somebody eat just makes me want to eat. So
Yeah.
I can't. I just watch it and I go, well, I'm hungry now, I guess. Like
Watching videos of people eating is it either makes me mad because I'm like, well, what they're eating looks delicious and I don't have any. So fuck you.
Right.
It's either that or it's like what they're eating is disgusting and I don't want to look at
I'm
them
like,
eating.
ugh. Yeah.
Fucking ew.
I'm just always jealous, and especially because I physically can't eat that much. Like I'm a small eater, like, and I don't want to be. Like I just will get jealous of how much those people can eat, and it'll make me upset.
See, Cypher says my misophonia makes that impossible. Yeah, that just the smacking lips noises.
Listening
like,
to people eat, yeah.
Fucking. Josh likes to watch videos of this guy. What's it called? It's like Beard Meets Food or something, or Beard Eats Food. I don't know, but it's a guy with a beard who eats lots of food. And every time I catch him watching, the guy's doing some kind of challenge, like, like restaurants and stuff, where like eat this massive, plate of food and you win a T-shirt. He just goes around all over the country doing that. And I always accuse
Dojo
Josh.
Destroyer for restaurants.
Yeah, I always accuse Josh of watching mukbang, and he gets mad. He's like, "It's not mukbang." Like it totally is. It's the same thing.
I've definitely seen Bird watch some of those, and in Bird's case, it's always like, I bet I could do that. Like that's his. He's watching it with that mentality, which like, I have seen. If he is like the hungriest he's ever been, I have seen Bird eat something large, but like most of the time he does not finish his meal, even if it's normal sized. So I'm like, there's no fucking way you're doing a food challenge. If it's about how spicy it is, he might. If it's like you have to eat the spiciest thing imaginable, I can see it, but there's no fucking way he's eating some like 4-pound cheeseburger or whatever the fuck. 4 pounds is probably not that big, actually, for a food challenge. Probably a 10-pound cheeseburger.
Yeah, I just don't. I get full so quickly. I also have this weird. It must be because of the way that I was raised, but when I try to eat food, it's like I become full before the food is actually finished, like mentally. I start to notice that I don't have much food left, and then I suddenly feel like I will get sick if I continue eating this. Even though there's literally like 1 or 2 bites left, it's like, oh, finishing this is impossible now.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. I've never been able to relate to people who are like, you ever like, just like keep, you like eat till you're full and then you just keep eating? And I'm like, no, I have the inverse opposite problem. I was not able to eat enough for most of my life.
I definitely am more of a, eat until I'm full and keep eating. It's just I get full really quick, and then I'm like, oh no, but I don't want to be done. Like I want more, and then I get bloated and then I hate it. And oh no, didn't want this. So I usually just try to use portion control. Just don't give myself too much. But I will absolutely eat past the point of being full. But that will also be like halfway through my cheeseburger sometimes. Like. I'm like, oh shit, I've already had too much, but I really don't want to stop eating. I love eating, is the thing. Eating is one of my favorite things to do in the whole world, so the fact that it's not something I could just be doing all the time is very disappointing. And I do eat typically 8 different times a day, just very small amounts. Big time nibbler.
Big time nibbler.
Yeah.
Is that like Ham Time Racer?
Big time nibbler. That would be a good name for a ham in Ham Time Racer. Some hams be nibbling.
It's true.
Big time nibbler.
By the way, is this thing that I'm doing right now, is this gameplay? Does this count?
There's mild amounts of timing involved, so
barely.
I would say it counts.
It is slightly gameplay. It's about, I'd say that's on the level of playing something for the Game & Watch.
It really is unreal how long this game takes to get you to the first fucking done. You've been playing for an hour and a half, and you're like speed running practically. Well, I won't call it speed running, but you're playing it quickly. You know what you're doing. You're not like trying to remember what happens, like, and you're still not even at the entrance of the first dungeon.
Yeah, just getting to the first dungeon is like a whole arc. This is really the One Piece of Zelda games.
Truly.
It's okay though. I'm having fun. It's just one of those things that it shows the cracks more and more every time I come back to play it again. It's like, yeah, playing as the wolf, like, aesthetically it's cool, but the wolf really doesn't have enough going on. There's not as much mechanical depth as there is when you're playing as a human.
A question for Z Cypher, if you're hearing me right now, because he was talking about having misophonia and that makes it impossible to watch mukbang, and like my mom has really intense misophonia as well, and I'm wondering if that is like an ASMR reaction but you just hate it. Like, is that what the feeling is? Because I don't get ASMR effects that easily, but when it does happen, I have always found it more of like a creepy feeling than a pleasant one. It's like, oh, something's happened. It feels like there's a tendril in my brain, you know, like an odd, off-putting. I guess it's different if I'm like prepared for it, but it's not something I go seeking out. You know, I don't watch ASMR content or anything like that because it to me it's a weird, off-putting feeling and not a positive one. C-Cypher says yes. Okay, so I think it's probably misophonia is like if you're very prone to ASMR and you don't like it.
That's how Josh is. He can't handle, like, I can't even like whisper in his ear as a joke without him getting like, stop.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom is definitely like that too. Like pretty much any kind of noise that is like at all unexpected or off-putting, she'll be like, like freaking out. Like,
oh god, Z-Cypher says it was because my mom used to make me sit at the table and she was an open mouth chewer.
No.
That's heinous. My mom was like,
my dad's
adamant,
like that.
My mom was like adamantly anti-chewing. Like she was.
Yeah.
She made sure to instill it in us from a very young age. Like, do not smack your lips when you chew. Do not chew with your mouth open. It's really
that's
rude
the funny
and
thing.
really gross.
My mom always complains about my dad chewing with his mouth open, but he claims he just simply cannot breathe without doing so. Like, he does not know how to breathe and eat at the same time without opening his mouth, and so...
That's a struggle.
Yeah. So he'll always stick up for himself. He'll always be like, I have to breathe. She'll be like, do it somewhere else.
That's so funny. I don't know why. Just, I have to breathe.
I gotta go pee.
Oh my god, I got the green clothes. He's wearing his iconic sock hat. I can't believe it. This garb once belonged to the ancient hero. Talking about the one from Ocarina of Time. So at some point, that version of Link grew older, and his outfit got all dusty and shit. And he also started wearing chainmail underneath it. And it looks like the hat has stitches in it, so I'm assuming that the hat got cut up at some point. It's like an old raggedy-ass outfit that's been stitched back together like 9 times. I wonder if Link knows how to sew. There's like a thing in the Spider-Man comic books is his costume would get all beat up, and then he'd have to like sew it back together by himself. I want to see Link doing that. I want like fan art of Link knitting. Link's best fit? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I just played Tears of the Kingdom, and I played through almost the entire game with the Ocarina of Time outfit on. I was able to unlock all the bonus outfits early because I bought this tiny little box that has like 32 different RFID chips in it, and each chip is like coded to a different amiibo. and I bought that for like $10. So just fake amiibos, unlock everything in the game. Very happy to have that, because they remastered Skyward Sword on the Switch. They added this really nifty fast travel feature, but you can only use it with a really specific amiibo that costs like $100, so fuck that. just buy the fake one online for like $1, it doesn't matter. Or you can just buy a pack of RFID chips for like, 5 cents and then make your own fake amiibo, doesn't matter. Best Link Fit is CDI with the vest and the red sleeves.
I'm loving this song right here. I love the instrument choices.
Yes. Golly, it sure is boring around here.
I want to find if somebody's like covered a Touhou song but using this sound font pack. That would be sick. Chrono, you don't know anything about Touhou, right?
Nope.
I gotta
Y'all were yapping
gotta
about it
learn
for like
you.
an hour and a half in the chat the other day, and I was sitting there playing Zelda, just completely dissociated, like.
Yeah, me and Kino are going to start a Touhou podcast. And the way we're gonna do it is each episode we're gonna take one character and just talk about like everything that we can find about that character and like what we think is cool and all that about them. Starting with Chiruno. I have to start saying Chiruno or else I'm going to get fucking lacerated in the comments.
Shinseki Evangelion.
Shinseki Evangelion. Yeah, well, in the case, so the character's name is spelled Cirno, which naturally reads as Cirno. But in Japanese, of course, it would be written Chiruno. And the reason people care in this case is because she is an ice fairy. And the joke is that she has chill in her name. Like, Chiru is how Japanese people would pronounce chill. So, like, part of the joke of her name is that it's Chiruno, That's all fine and good. I think you can understand that that's the joke without having to say Chiruno. But, I'm going to, of course, alternate between them wildly throughout the podcast because how can you not? But I will have to start it off, like, making sure everyone understands. Yeah, we know how it's supposed to be said. If we slip up, it's because I've been pronouncing it wrong for 20 fucking years. So, give me a break.
Yeah, I've never cared about your funny pronunciations over the years except for one, and that was when you made a Hunter x Hunter video like 15 fucking years ago, and you said Kilua. That was the only one.
Kilua.
Yeah. Like, that was the only one that infuriated me.
I got a lot of shit for that one. I remember all the comments that were like, I can't believe you said Kilua like that. I'm like, what the fuck ever.
You talk dumb, idiot.
So goofy.
There are so many words that I now pronounce correctly that I so did not for the first 22 years of my life. Being a YouTuber will correct your speech heavily. I even say iron now. I did not. I used to say iron.
I remember iron.
And it was like, I think it was like my comments started pointing out to me that I was saying iron funny. And then I asked, like, everyone else in my life about it, and they were all like, yeah, we've all noticed. And I'm like, what, did you think I was fucking doing it on purpose? Like, I just thought you all pronounced it this way. And, like, I was really trying to get to the bottom of why do I say it, because, like, my mom pronounces it iron, my friends were all saying iron, and I was like, surely it's Inuyasha's fault. Surely he was saying Iron Reaver Soul Stealer, but no, he straight up says Iron Reaver, and I was like, fucking, where did I get iron from? Like, Z-Cypher says it increases engagement. That is also true, and that would be my mentality today. If somebody, I would be much more likely to mispronounce something on purpose for engagement baiting today. But back then, I didn't see it coming. I didn't know I was saying these words wrong, So, I don't know, people have given me a lot of shit for when I say like talking or walking, I pronounce the L. And sometimes heavily talking, like What are you talking about? It's like most people say talking. What are you talking about?
Talking. Epitome.
Yeah, epitome. Yeah, when people say epitome.
Tone is hilarious.
It does crack me up to no end, like when I'm listening to an analysis video and I hear a word like that get pronounced like completely fucked, and it always makes me realize like, oh, this person has probably read this word 100 times and like maybe they've also heard it pronounced correctly, but they haven't put two and two together. Like for me, bourgeoisie, like I'd heard the word bourgeoisie said, but every time I read it, I read bourgeois. So for a long time, I thought bourgeois was a word. And then at some point, I was like, oh, this is what bourgeoisie is. Like,
yeah. That's happened to me a couple times. I don't remember which words, but I've definitely had that epiphany feeling of like, oh, that's what that word is? Like, I think it was foyer. I heard people saying foyer.
Yeah.
And then putting two and two together, that was what foyer is. Like,
Yep.
oh.
And in my head, those are still both words.
They
Like,
are.
I still say foyer. Like,
I hear other people say it all the time. It's just a stupid word. I don't know what to say.
but also like, death to prescriptive linguism as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a word is the way it is said. It is not. There's no real way to pronounce a word. It only became. We all used to fucking. Well, I was gonna say we all used to speak Latin, but that was actually only a written language. It used to be that written language and spoken language weren't even the same fucking language. Like.
Yep.
It's all this fucking. It's because somebody got like a C on a test once, and then their mom screamed at them for not knowing how to pronounce a word, and now they're fucking self-conscious about it. But like, it's not real. Your teacher's dumb. I kind of go out of my way now, because a word that I say a lot is but what's the one? It's shit. It's not in my mind.
Regardlessly.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you. Regardlessly. I say regardlessly all the fucking time, and it pisses certain people off, namely Bird and his dad. Because Bird got, his dad is the type of person who would go, oh, it's actually regardless, and since he heard that all growing up, he gets triggered hearing regardlessly, and I'm like, if you type regardlessly into dictionary, like .com or whatever, it comes up as a word, like.
Yeah, but it's an adverb, and you're using it as an adjective. You sinned! You sinned!
There's irregardless, regardless, regardlessly. They're all interchangeable, and everyone knows what you mean when you say it, because words only have meaning contextually. So if you understand the context where the word's being said, that's all that matters.
Pretty much, yeah. I agree.
Any linguist would agree with me, because prescriptive linguism just means dumb people who don't study language, and linguists are like, yeah, words are nonsense. Like, they're not. Yeah. They're 90% of all words historically were different permutations of sword or spear, mostly spear. Like, I follow a person who like studies the history of language. And like, if you find a word you don't recognize in an old text, chances are it means spear.
Yakuman says, I remember when Trixie used to say niche when she argued that if you're correcting me, you know what I'm saying. That was one of the first times that Trixie rewrote my brain.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
And I'm more likely now to say niche, but like I still think both are correct. Like if somebody says niche, because I'd heard people say it that way plenty of times, like.
Different people have different dialects, like I don't fucking care.
That too.
When someone pronounces a word funny, I don't think like, oh, you're doing it wrong. I'm just like, oh, they talk funny.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fine. I don't know. So a lot of people get like weirdly offended by it. Like, how dare you say that word funny?
Oh yeah, Desperdane. Happens with phrases too, when people say for all intensive purposes. That one cracks me up.
that is actually way more infuriating to me.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking funny.
Using words for things that they don't mean actually does kind of infuriate me. Like pronunciation's one thing. If I understand the word you're saying, I don't care about the pronunciation. But when you say like I could care less, when you mean that you couldn't care less,
right?
It's just weird. And I'm like, how are you not noticing that you're saying the opposite of what you mean?
I mean, the only way to respond to that is like saying like, well, why don't you? You know, like, go ahead and care less then, you know. If you can care less, then why are you caring so much?
Melt their fucking brain.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people, like, they understand the phrase because they understand the spirit of what is being said, not that they literally, like, with intensive purposes, like, they're not thinking that the word intensive means... you know, what the word intensive means. They're just thinking, well, that's a phrase that people say, you know, and for all intents and purposes, it might as well mean the same thing. For all intents and purposes, for all intensive purposes, means for all intents and purposes.
Fucking,
John Well Jake had impressed the teacher.
Jesus Christ. Punishable by execution. I usually, it's not like people who are close to me or any of my friends who make these kinds of linguistic errors. It's usually some weirdo at work, someone that I would not voluntarily hang out with is where I most often run into these struggles. Like my old job where I was a trucker and the other people working there were like very casually and openly racist and horrible people. And one of the guys had this little quirk where instead of saying, you know, we're not real strict around here, or, you know, we're not sticklers about it, he would combine those two things and he would always say, you know, we're not strictlers. We're not strictlers. This motherfucker has not gone to school. And more recently, at my last job, when I was a school bus driver, the lady who like trained me, she was...
I feel like strictlers should be a word though. Like you've convinced me that that's a good one. Like if you're strictly a stickler, you're a strickler.
Yeah, well, I never called him out because like just like whatever, strickler, it's fine. I know what he means. But this other lady, oh my god, this lady was so stupid. I think she was barely literate because she, for some reason, was put in charge of safety meetings. Like once a month, all the bus drivers had to gather in a room, and she would read off these PowerPoints to everyone. But it wasn't like, it didn't feel like she had read them ahead of time. It didn't feel like she understood what she was lecturing us about. She was just looking at the PowerPoint slides and reading them like a 5th grader. You're like, the 5 safety tips for driving bus, and sometimes she'd read a word wrong and you just hear an old guy in the back of the room quietly correct her. And she wouldn't acknowledge it, and it was so fucking funny. And while she was training me for the school bus test, like, you have to memorize a bunch of shit of like, here's where this part of the bus is, here's where this part, you have to like do a whole bus inspection. And every time we got to the part with the tires, she would read off the part of the paper where it says there are no contaminants on the wheel, and she would always say condiments instead of contaminants. And it drove me crazy. She's just like, there's no condiments. I'm like, what the fuck? So I so badly wanted to just fuck with her and be like, yeah, checking the tires, there's no ketchup or mustard on them, just to see what she would say. But I didn't go for it. I didn't want to get fired on my first day, so whatever. I let it go. It's just really fucking funny, and I told Josh about it, and Josh still refers to her as the condiment lady. I still joke about it.
Yakuman said, before was is. Deep. That's
Jesus
deep.
Christ. You're all going to jail.
Just flashed back to when way back, if you remember the YMS video about After Earth, the Will Smith and Jaden Smith movie, where like he plays all these interview clips where when Jaden was young he would just say like the most random weird shit, and then fucking Will Smith would always be like, yo, that's deep.
I love those fucking clips. The kid's just sitting there being like, just saying nonsense, and Will's like,
being cringe
whoa!
on purpose. And his dad is like, "Oh, you're a genius." And he's like, "I'm like deliberately fucking with you, but all right."
There's like a generational tweet when you said the thing about mirrors. How can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?
If our eyes aren't real, yeah.
That's so
one of the
good.
greatest tweets of all time. I think about that literally all the time.
Me too.
That one and Tyler the Creator is like, how is cyberbullying even real? Just turn off the computer, just look away.
It's funny because that's what everybody at my school said when they taught us about cyberbullying. They would like show us all the videos of like, be like a kid going on the computer and seeing like her bullies from school posting about her on Facebook, being like, haha, Lindsay's so fat and ugly too. And she like cries and wants to kill herself, and the teacher's like, so I hope you guys have learned something from this. And all of my classmates are like, I don't get it. Why wouldn't she just turn the computer off? Is she stupid?
I mean...
I mean... I have both cyberbullied and been cyberbullied. I'm like the stupidest person of all time.
My anger management class teacher was like today like now raise your hand if you want to hurt people's feelings, and I was like, maybe I kinda do. Like, do I want to hurt people's feelings? Like,
Occasionally.
some people, yeah.
have it
Like, it's
coming.
kind of fun. Shit, maybe I'm a terrible fucking person.
I only want to hurt someone's feelings if they're a wretched human being. If they're just like a real scumbag, I'm like, yeah, you should have your feelings hurt, actually.
Or if they like
Shouldn't feel good about yourself.
like made me slightly annoyed for 1 second, then you know.
Yeah, that's more valid.
Termination, instant termination.
Yeah. It's like I've been working this Jesus Christ. I've been working this new part-time job, just like pay the bills and such, you know, life things. And I don't know how long I'm gonna last at this job. It's not terrible. It's just kind of infuriating sometimes. Cause I'm like cleaning people's houses basically. I'm a maid. I go to people's houses and I clean their shit.
Do you get to wear a maid uniform?
I wish. I've been
Would
asked
they
that.
let you wear a maid uniform?
I'm just gonna start purchasing maid
You gotta
cosplays.
start just showing up in maid cosplay.
Yeah, it's gonna
It
happen.
would be awesome.
But what's infuriating
There's
about
a-
it is that not all customers are created equal. You know, sometimes. Oh, what the fuck? How did that? That did not look like it should have snatched me, but okay. Sometimes I get to clean a house for an old lady who's like disabled and can't clean it herself, and in that case it's like I'm doing a good thing, you know, I'm helping someone who needs help and getting paid to do it. That's cool. Then there are the rich white people houses where they're like, you didn't clean the glass door on the inside of the oven. I'm giving you 1 star. Like, I got down on my hands and knees for you, and I scrubbed your fucking house from head to toe. You bitch. It's like you have so much more than me. You are so well off, and you have the gall to give me a
literally-
bad review because I didn't tuck in the corners of your bed sheet. You cunt. Oh,
I
God.
think it's impossible to have a service industry job where you're not gonna have the customers that just take advantage of the opportunity to be an asshole.
Yep.
Like, you know, Bird sells cars. Most of the customers he legitimately like enjoys talking to, and then every once in a while there's somebody who's just an asshole.
Yep.
Like for no reason. That's just who they are, you know.
See, Cyber says, "Come clean my house. I'll give you 5 out of 5." Well, okay. I'll scrub your turlets for that good review. If I get like 10 good reviews, I think I get a raise. But so far, I've already gotten 2 bad reviews, and they were both from rich people, and I don't respect them as human beings. Mostly because you know, it's especially disheartening when like you are trying really fucking hard, being like, I'm gonna do this job, I'm gonna do it fast, and I'm gonna do it right because I have a time limit, and I make it with like just barely outside the time limit, but I got everything done and I felt good about it, and my muscles are sore all over my body from how hard I worked yesterday. And then the boss lady's like, you got a bad review again. I'm like, why? And she tells me the reasons why. And I'm like, then that lady's a bitch. Like, she cares too much about stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's like, there was still a little bit of soap scum in the bathroom sink. I'm like, I don't even have central air conditioning, and you're mad because someone didn't get all the soap scum out of your sink? Kill yourself. Like, fuck.
Yeah, rich people are terrible.
Like, if you hate the way I clean it that bad, just clean it yourself. Fuck.
Well, and like, I'm sure that person was like looking for a mistake. Like they were like, all right, let's find out how they fucked up, you know? Like, we inspect everything and find the fuck up.
Yeah, they're like, I paid a whole like $19 for this. It better be done right.
The idea of being upset that there is soap in a place that contains soap is really funny to me. Like, did you then turn on the water and let it just go down the fucking tub? Like,
I had a bad fucking feeling about it when I got there, because I asked her if there was anything in particular she wanted me to pay attention to, since it was my first time at that house. And she brought me into the master bathroom. Has a master bathroom, by the way. She brought me into the master bathroom and showed me the last time people came there to clean, they didn't get all of the scum out of the little crack in the shower door, like the little sliding door in the shower. They didn't scrub the little like rut where the doors rest. So I made sure that I got all of it out. I scrubbed that part very hard. Didn't leave any residue behind. And I got a bad review. So I need that lady to die. I need it today.
Unfeasible.
What a fucking prick. Like, the fact that she cared so much about that particular detail in the first place, I'm like, okay. So you're looking for your house to be like pristine, as though no one has ever lived in it.
But they're also not looking to pay for the most expensive brew, you know.
Yeah.
They're hoping to get within a budget range price the best job they've ever seen.
Yeah. And especially because she only paid for like 2 hours. Like, you pay for 2 hours and 15 minutes, you have a massive fucking house and 2 people to clean it. I took the entire upper floor, and I did my very best to stay within the time limit while getting it done. I wasn't slacking. I didn't think I was doing it wrong. And I got a laundry list of complaints the next day. I'm like, well, I hope I never clean your house again, you ungrateful piece of shit. You don't fucking deserve it. Good God.
True facts. So this is going to be a super roundabout way of connecting to what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
But you reminded me of the best way to describe Touhou to someone who's never heard of it.
All right.
Which is that Touhou... So imagine JoJo's Bizarre Adventure if it was only cute girls.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like the good version of JoJo.
That's what Touhou is.
I'm immediately interested now. God damn.
Yes. Touhou, it's only girl. There's one male character in the entire franchise. He's not in any of the games. He's only in the manga, and he just like runs a shop. And he is clearly like a stand-in for the guy who makes the games. But it's only cute girls. Each one has like a very distinct design, personality, gimmick, and set of special attacks. And like, you know, some kind of wacky name, and they all have their own theme song. And but the reason that you reminded me of that is that there's one character named Sakuya who is a maid who can stop time, and her time-stopping ability is called the World, because she is just Dio. Directly inspired by Dio. But
awesome.
She's a silver-haired maid, and she can summon infinite knives. Like, she'll basically stop time and then just summon a fuckload of knives and then start time, and all the knives are flying at you. And she's one of the more famous Touhou characters.
I love killing people.
Yeah. I think you would actually... So, like, I don't know if... Have you ever played a bullet hell game before? Or, like, any kind of scrolling shooter games?
A tiny bit. Yeah.
I could see you enjoying them, but like more than that, Sakuya the maid is also the playable character of a game called Touhou Luna Nights, which is like a very well-known Metroidvania like action game, and I could definitely see you enjoying that. I've heard that it's just like incredibly good. It's from the same people who would go on to then make Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth. I don't know if you heard of that one.
No.
Have you ever heard of
Cerberus?
No. Have you ever heard of Record of Lodoss War?
No.
So Record of Lodoss War was like a manga and anime, or actually a light novel and anime series from like the late 80s and early 90s that's like based on a D&D campaign. But it has this elf girl named Deedlit. Have you seen Delicious in Dungeon?
Not yet.
Okay, the elf girl in that is very similar to Deedlit. Like, she's very much following the archetype. I would actually go so far as to say that Deedlit is basically the archetype for all anime elf girls. Like, she was the OG, like, just cute blonde anime elf from which all further anime elves have descended. But basically, the Record of Lodoss War property has not had anything new since like the 90s, and then the people who made Touhou Luna Nights were just like, what if we made a Metroidvania starring Deedlit? And then they did. I don't know how they got the permissions or whatever, but they made this game where you play as a Deedlit, the cute elf girl, running around a fucking Metroidvania, or Castlevania castle, doing Castlevania shit. But I'm not sure which one is the more famous game between Touhou Luna Nights and Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth. I know they have another third game that I think actually has an original character in it, but I don't remember what it's called.
I just noticed Cat is behind me on the futon. Cat.
Yakuman says Sakuya is S tier. Don't ever forget. Yakuman, I don't know if you heard this earlier, but me and Kino are going to start a Touhou podcast where each episode we just take a character and go in on as much as we can. Like, I spent the last couple days reading like a fuckload of Chirno manga, collecting all my favorites. But I want it to be a show that is like as accessible to Touhou newcomers as it is to experts. Like whatever character we're talking about, we will become, at least somewhat the expert on it, and then try to present it in a way that like somebody who doesn't know who this character at all is will become a fan by the end of the podcast. Granted, Chirno is like the most popular Touhou character, but Krona doesn't know who she is, so I know there's some people who'll be like, this is the first I'm learning of any of this.
I don't know shit about fuck.
I purchased, there's a new game starring Chirno called Chirno Lifts a Boulder, and it's basically like, it looks like the ice levels from Mario 64, or like the snow levels. It's just like this super chilled out, like N64 aesthetic, and it's like a collecting platformer starring Chirno, and it looks awesome. I just purchased it, so I haven't played it yet, but
Nice.
We'll definitely talk about that and any other Chirno games and stuff. Fuck that bug. Was that the boss?
It was a mini boss. A monkey had a bug controlling his brain. So I stabbed him in his big old booty, and then he went back to normal.
Booty bug.
Very logical solution. Oh yeah, I highly recommend the manga for Twilight Princess, by the way, to everybody. Everyone who likes this game should read the manga of Twilight Princess. It's not the first time there has been a manga adaptation of a Zelda game. It's like a pair of women who write and illustrate the Zelda manga. They've been doing it for ages. But usually when they made a Zelda manga, it was restricted to being like 1 or 2 volumes long, so they're all super short, and they would just kind of rush through all the major plot points as quickly as possible. But the Twilight Princess manga is 11 volumes, and I think it adapts the story in a way that is more interesting than the game's version of it, which is crazy, because I already thought this game had a great story. Shit.
The Cow Tool said, I thought Reimu was the most popular / main one. She is the main character of Touhou, and I would say she could be... I would say it's arguable between Reimu, Cyrano, and Sakuya are, like, probably the 3 best known. And then the Scarlet Sisters, pretty much like... So, with Touhou, there's 20 mainline games right now. The first 5 were all made for PC 98, and most people don't really go back to those, and they're not considered canon. Like, none of the characters from PC 98, with like 1 or 2 exceptions, really show up in Touhou anymore. But Touhou 6, Embodiment of Scarlet Devil, is by far the most famous game, and all of the characters from that are like deeply embedded into internet meme culture. So like, Chirno's the second boss, Sakuya's like the 5th boss, I think, and then Romelia Scarlet's the final, and then there's the extra boss, which is her sister Flanders Scarlet. And like the Scarlet Sisters, Sakuya and Chirno and Reimu, who's the player character, are all like tremendously popular, and Marisa, the other playable character. Like, I would say that the popularity of any of those like 6 characters pretty much dwarfs anyone else in the franchise, but you know, every single Touhou character has a fan base, has fan work, has, you know, some kind of identity within the fandom. But yeah, the Embodiment of Scarlet Devil characters are far and away the best known. I got into Touhou just because of art of Romelia Scarlet. Just like, I thought she was the coolest looking thing I had ever seen. Had no idea where she came from. I just kept seeing cool ass fan art of her and was like, this is my new favorite character. I don't know who she is or where she comes from, but she's my new favorite character. And then I found out, and it opened up a whole world to me. This was in 2008 or 9. And even back then, there was like an incredible amount of Touhou fan work. I was saying this on Bird's stream yesterday, but like I really looked at the Brony fandom as like the natural sequel to the Touhou fandom. Like anything you could say about the Brony fandom, it was already true about Touhou. Except for that it's based on a kid's thing.
And the Steven Universe fandom was the sequel to the Brony fandom?
I don't think Steven Universe ever went as far into fan-generated content as Brony and Touhou.
I guess not. That's just because Brony was like mega huge in that regard.
Well, and it's partly
was, like,
that
better than
like
the actual show.
like the thing with Touhou is that the actual content of the games is very sparse. Like each character has like maybe 5 to 10 lines of dialogue in the game. And so it's mostly just like a cool character design, a cool song, and like a general idea of who they are. And then the fans elaborate on that tremendously. And it's similar with Pony, where like there are the main 6 ponies, but most of the fandom popular ones were like background characters who literally had no dialogue. It just had like a cool aesthetic, and so people extrapolated on who they are and created this whole fanon. And so yeah, like with MLP and Touhou, like the fanon eclipses the canon, like tremendously so.
Yeah. So that's why Steven Universe didn't make it as far, as because it was just a good show.
Yeah,
it just
good. Yeah, it's more of a normal fandom of like, yeah, people like the characters as the character. Like people don't tremendously rewrite who the characters are for the most part. Like
yeah.
They're but like with Touhou, like there's in both Touhou and MLP, there's a huge shipping culture of like shipping that has no canon basis really. It's just like, well, these 2 characters seem like they should be together, so we've decided that they are now a popular ship, and it'll be like you read 300 doujins about this pairing that is not even acknowledged in canon whatsoever. It's just something that fans thought made sense. And like the creator of Touhou, like tries not to keep up with the fan stuff because he doesn't want it to affect, you know, how he's going to present it. So, but like with Touhou in particular, he has like a 10. There's like 10 rules for Touhou fan work that are like, you know, don't make anything that makes like Touhou look bad. Basically, don't pretend to be an official release, but otherwise you are allowed to make whatever you want and sell whatever you want. So like most of the fan content is like for sale, you know, like it's like there's a lot of Touhou games you can buy on your Nintendo Switch. None of them are made by the creator, you know, like none of them are numbers 1 through 20. Some of those are available on Steam, but even then, like, most people who play Touhou have just downloaded all the games, or they bought them at Comic-K. Like, they're only sold really at Comic-K. Like, you have to be where he is physically to buy it from him. But yeah, most people are just downloading them and playing them. I own a physical copy of Touhou 9. That's the only one I've ever gotten my hands on, but you know, I own a few doujinshi that are just made by some random fans. Some of the official manga are actually for sale in the United States. I actually think it might only be one. There's Forbidden Scrollery, but you know, again, there's Touhou fan work that you can buy in a mainstream store. You can walk into Best Buy and purchase a fucking Touhou Switch game that, you know, at best has the nod of approval from the original creator.
You had me at comparing it to JoJo's because it
it really is just JoJo with cute girls instead of big muscly men.
Yeah, so that is the biggest thing holding JoJo's back for me, and why I've always been completely perplexed by its reputation. But I think it's kind of held in about as high esteem as Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I don't even think it's as good as that show, which is it's just always been weird to me. There's so many people who are like, yeah, JoJo's best anime ever, and I'm like, really? Like, I like it, don't get me wrong, it's funny, but like, what the fuck?
To me, it is the ultimate dude bro anime. Like, yeah. It's just a bunch of big guys being big guys and like throwing crazy attacks at each other and shit. Yeah. Like, if you're really into power scaling type stuff, like, Bird loves JoJo because he loves power systems. Like, that is his engagement with anime, is I want to know what are all the powers, how do they interrelate, who can beat who and why, you know? And like, that is pretty much all JoJo is.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with Bird where I was like saying why Dragon Ball is probably my favorite shonen to date, even though it doesn't have all... Because he said it doesn't have as clear of rules as the other shows, which is why he's not as into it. And I'm like, yeah, I just kind of see it as like, these are all the same thing, because even with the rules, it's all bullshit magic anyway. It doesn't make a huge difference to me personally. So to me, other shonen just feel like Dragon Ball, but they're playing 4D chess on top of the like beating the fuck out of you. And Bird's like, yeah, I like the 4D chess. Like,
yep. I think that's a lot of people's engagement with shonen, is that it's because they're thinking of it like a game. Like this, like you're setting up the parameters of the game, and that makes it so you can imagine different scenarios on your own of like how these things would interact, you know. And there's direct comparisons. Whereas you and I are more into like the experience of like, is it fun to watch? Like, you know, not so much is it fun to think about the power systems. Like, if I'm gonna think about something from anime, I'm probably gonna be thinking about the themes, you know, and
themes and
that's like a whole different genre, basically. The themes of JoJo are big man hit.
Yeah, I'm more about it in a sense of how can I emotionally relate to this thing, or what does it say about other people, like society, whatever the fuck, you know, themes and such. And then, you know, other people seem to be entertained by thinking about the material construct of this fictional world and like how cool it would be to exist in that world. And that's definitely how I was as a kid. Yeah, I kind of grew to enjoy things differently over time. Partially because of watching your content.
I don't even think I enjoy things the way I've described in my content.
It's pretty funny.
My engagement with media is like, who am I watching it with?
Right. That's more true of me now. Like, I have grown to be a much less avid TV watcher. I watch TV with the boy when he's at home and he wants to hang out. And the rest of my day, I'm either gaming or making videos. I don't really care about watching TV on my own. I'm not as passionate about, I don't know, watching anime or whatever.
There's only been in recent times, because like most of the time, yeah, I'm also just watching anime because it's like me and Bird can both tolerate this show, so therefore we're gonna watch it. Like sometimes we start watching something and I just tune out. Like he marathoned all of Solo Leveling recently, and like I don't think there's anything wrong with that show in terms of quality. Like it's completely fine. It does what it does well. It's just what it does has no engagement for me. Like we put it on, I was pretty much completely disengaged within like a few minutes, and like for the first few episodes I was kind of half paying attention, and then it was just like, yeah, I'm playing games on my phone. I don't know what's going on in the show anymore. He quickly realized and just started watching it by himself. But you know, like there will be certain shows like a Jujutsu Kaisen that like I probably wouldn't have watched by myself, but watching it with Bird is very fun, and it is a great fucking show. Like unreservedly, it is just really good. But like, you know, I'm watching it because I'm watching it with Bird. The only anime I've watched recently that was purely by myself of my own volition, and I watched the whole thing, was Journal with Witch. And I have like a 25-minute video I've been sitting on for that I hate editing, and I'm so terrified of putting a few hours of work into it and then uploading it and it gets fucking blocked, and I'll just be so upset. Like I'm just not ready to face that. But Journal with Witch was legitimately great. It was definitely like, you know, a show that I like. People kept telling me like, oh yeah, this show's really good and you'll probably enjoy it, and I was like, you're just saying that because it's called Journal with Witch. And then I found out the main character is a 35-year-old writer, and I went, oh, I have to watch this now. Like an anime about literally me? I didn't think they had it in them. I didn't think they were still doing that. And yeah, it was really great. It was a healing experience, I would say.
God, it's unfortunate that my literally me anime character is from a shonen that I'm a little too old for.
Which one? Chrono, you mean?
Yeah. As much as I love Soul Eater, I still love it. It's just like, you know, it's a shonen. Like it's not gonna blow my mind to shit. It's just a fun shonen. I just really strongly relate to this one character.
That show has the coolest aesthetic of like any anime ever.
Yeah.
Bird fucking loves Soul Eater. He will absolutely defend that one to the death.
Good.
And Fire Force for that matter. Which
I still want to read.
I only watched we watched the whole last season of Fire Force together, and I will say that like the first half of it really sucked, and then the last like 4 episodes were actually legitimately awesome. They reset the universe to be the reason the Soul Eater universe is the way it is that the main character of Fire Force basically has to reshape the world from his memory, and he remembers it like a cartoon.
Oh, that's
so
hilarious.
all the rules of reality are different in Soul Eater because he just like that's how he like basically wanted it to be / remembered it.
Yeah, I want to read Fire Force. It's funny because I feel like that one got a lot of hate just for being exactly the way that Soul Eater always was, but for being that way in the 2010s.
Yeah, for sure. It was somebody who did not decide to change with the times, and very much defends himself about it in the text of the work. Because there's a whole episode, this one fucking insane scene where like a PTA mom is like complaining about one of the characters being sexualized, and then her son like becomes black-pilled and just rants about how wrong she is, and it's fucking crazy.
I need to see this. I'm gonna start reading Fire Force right fucking now. As soon as I finish Twilight Princess, I'm reading Fire Force next. Fuck it. No, I'm not. I have to finish Akira. God damn it. I forgot. I started reading Akira. It's amazing. fuck me. There's so
It
much
is
manga I
amazing.
want to read. See, that's why I don't watch fucking anime anymore. It's because manga is so much better. I love manga.
You need a WAMs. It's a great excuse.
Wait.
Because like, Bird and Shade both are like probably bigger manga readers even than they are like anime watchers, but it is a matter of like, when am I gonna find time to do like to tackle all the ones I've heard of. But
Just the
if you
right way
just
to
give
be.
yourself an assignment every week of I have to read 30 chapters of something, then you'll force yourself. The one they're reading this week is Bug Ego, which is the new from the guy who made One Punch Man and Mob Psycho. And I've read the first 3 chapters of Bug Ego. It is the most insane thing I have ever read. Like, it reads like a Junji Ito comedy manga. The artwork is nuts. It's not drawn by him. It's like working with an illustrator who has like an incredible range and like just mastery of what they're doing. And the plot, basically these 2 high school kids meet, and one of them's kind of like a mob type, like loner, kind of a loser kid, and the other guy is like, he used to get bullied, but he's learned how to fit in. And the cooler kids like, I'm gonna teach you some life hacks so that you can make life a little bit easier for yourself. And then the loser kid's like, well, actually, I have this book of reality hacks, where like if you do these very specific things, you can warp reality. And so he starts teaching the reality warp hacks to the other friend, and this leads to the most just utterly batshit stories unfolding that I couldn't possibly describe them. Like, it's so extra. I think you would definitely enjoy it. It's incredibly imaginative. It really feels like every chapter makes you feel like you have just taken a whole journey into the depths of the human psyche in a funny way. Because it is ultimately a comedy. I know Shade is absolutely loving it. He was like, this is one of the funniest manga I've ever read. He compared it to Gintama, which is a pretty fair comparison. But I don't think you've ever seen any Gintama.
I've seen a few episodes, but it was a long time ago. I had no context for anything that was happening. My friend just told me, he's like, Gintama is really fucking cool and funny, but I don't know how to get you into it, so I'm just going to show you my favorite arc. And it's like...
That's exactly how my friend got me into it.
It's like, whatever, like, it was fine, you know? I didn't really feel that strongly about it.
Gintama's a tough one because part of what makes it so good is that it is constantly something different. Like, it's always evolving and changing because it's just doing, parodies of different stuff along its way. And so it's really like the totality of it that hits more than any individual part.
The only thing I remember is them like hiding inside of a barrel, and then the main character farted while they were hiding inside the barrel. That's the only fucking thing.
I know what arc you're talking about. The first episode I saw was like in the middle of this like action, like traditional shonen style arc. 4 of the main characters all end up shitting in the same public bathroom, and all 4 of them are out of toilet paper, and they're playing like mind games to try to see who can get the other people to go get toilet paper and or share like they all keep insisting that the other one has it, and like someone has sandpaper, and so it ends up, I think, with everybody having to use sandpaper to wipe their ass, and it's pretty incredible.
That's great. Gary always said the amazing digital circus discourse is what finally convinced me to uninstall Twitter. First of all, congratulations on uninstalling Twitter. I feel strongly that my life improved when I logged off of that, but
I have every single time somebody tells me about some kind of weird internet drama or discourse, I'm always like, where the fuck did you see this? They're like, Twitter. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Like,
it's always like the worst
never see
opinion.
Anything.
It's like the stupidest opinion ever. People are like, I can't believe people really believe in blank, and you're like, who the fuck believes that? It's Twitter. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's probably not a real human.
Shade has been laughing about this for days now, that like there's some kind of controversy that is really stupid surrounding one of the like voice actors of Amazing Digital Circus. I assume this is what Gary is talking about, and somebody's response to it was like, yeah, Digital Circus is fucking bullshit. It's what was the phrase? It's spiritually Israeli and Yakubian. And Shade has been losing his shit about the phrase spiritually Israeli for days now.
My friend Haley has been doing that too. She's absolutely in love with the fact that Israeli is the new way to call something bad. It's so fucking funny. I'm all for it. God damn.
Do you know what Yakubian means?
What?
Yakubian.
Yakubian? I'm not familiar.
Have you heard of Yakub?
No.
Well, let me tell you, he created you.
What?
You see, there is a certain sort of religious conspiracy theorist group called Black Israelites who believe that there was a black wizard named Yakub who created white people to spite the rest of black people, basically. And so white people are Yakubians because we are the creations of Yakub. We're not human. We are a species essentially created by this wizard. So that guy who was saying that Amazing Digital Circus was spiritually Israeli also called it Yakubian in nature.
Okay.
Jerry said, is that the Christ consciousness religion? No, that's a different thing. When Kendrick Lamar said, I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no mo, that he was referencing the Black Israelite movement, because part of the Damn album is his cousin, who is one of them, like calling him and explaining to him that he is strayed from the light of God because he doesn't recognize himself as the true child of Israel.
Alright, I'm taking away your internet. That's enough. I just love Digital Circus discourse for like, I haven't engaged with a single ounce of it, but I can immediately tell when someone has, because the way they talk about it is so fucking foreign and weird to me. Where to me, my perspective is that I watched Digital Circus and I thought, oh, this is cute and funny. I like it. And I watched it with Z Cypher when I was at his house, and we had a good time watching it together. And so, in my mind, Amazing Digital Circus is just a good cartoon. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing deeper. It's just a good cartoon that I like. So when I see people talking about it and being like, I'm really unsatisfied with the new episode, I feel like Jax wasn't punished enough for his actions in the previous one. And I'm like, you have been thinking about this for too long.
Well, you gotta remember, it's a lot of people's first fandom. Like, it is there in the same way that Steven Universe was, like, it's the same kind of discourse as what was happening around Steven Universe. I don't think Pearl's been punished enough for working for a fucking totalitarian regime or whatever. It's like, it's a fucking kid's cartoon. Like, who gives a shit?
I mean, if you consider the actions that Pearl took in that show, she was basically doing what Israel is doing in real life. That means Pearl is spiritually Israeli. Like, this is still a baby show for babies. Like, I can't believe they didn't kill Space Hitler at the end and that they redeemed her instead. What an awful lesson to teach children. It's for babies. They were not going to have Steven murder somebody. People are so goofy on the internet. It's like, this is not real. This is not a real person. This is a government psyop. This is a bot. Go outside. Talk to real people.
You did it. You beat the first dungeon.
Woohoo! Yeehaw! Awesome sauce. Epic win. Poggers.
We're 2.5 hours in.
Skibbity Ohio Riz.
I think you would have beaten the entire child arc of Ocarina of Time by this point.
Oh, I don't know about that. Maybe if given 45 more minutes. But
I think you were at the entrance of Jabu Jabu's belly when we ended our first stream of Ocarina, which was probably like this long.
That's pretty
Not
crazy.
that we have to end right now or anything, but I'm just saying, like.
Yeah. I'm good to keep going. I'm having fun talking. But yeah, no, this game gets off to an outrageously slow start. And I don't hate it. It's just interesting. It's interesting to me that it takes so long to get through the first dungeon. It really makes it feel like you're setting out on the biggest quest ever. Which I guess is good, because that's kind of what this game is. It's just Ocarina of Time, but bigger. It's not that complicated. It's a little bit of Ocarina and a little bit of Majora's Mask, because you can transform into a different species. It's just, instead of turning into 3 of them, you only get 1, and it's not as cool as those other 3. Forget about it. Whatever. It's justified, because you get to be a furry.
When is Baby Stabber 2 coming out? Maybe I'll finish it for Halloween this year. Baby Stomper versus Baby Stabber.
This idea said JoJo has elements that dude bros like, but I don't really see it as a dude bro anime. Too flamboyant character designs also get far less huge muscle dude over time. That's true, and it is super gay the whole time, but I think it's super gay in a very particular way, where because it's all couched in comedy, that it's very safe for straight dude bros to kind of...
Well, I should say, when I say dude bro, because, like, there's 2 different... Like, I'm not saying dude bro like the kind of guy who, like, plays sports, because that kind of person doesn't like anime.
Yeah.
This is, like, it's as masculine appealing as anime, like, the most, like, guy anime fans, which, in the modern day, is a flamboyant, kind of gay type of guy, you know, like, I think if you're into anime at all, you are already kind of admitting you're gay. Like,
I just think nothing about the show is like sensitive or feminine. It's super gay, but it's gay in the sense that it's like funny. Like, it's always funny when it's being gay. It's never being sincerely gay. So
there's no sensitivity expressed whatsoever. It is always the most outrageous it could possibly be.
Yeah, and that's not a criticism. It's not me being like, oh, it's bad. It's just that's the reason why I personally can't connect with it as strongly as other people do, because to me it's always been like, there's always been that disconnect. I'm like, I can appreciate what's good about it, I just don't get what makes it best anime ever in people's minds.
I have always seen it as the like making an effort to be the most obnoxious thing it could possibly be. Like, it is always as loud as possible. It is always as crass as possible. It's always as dumb as fucking possible, while still managing to prove. Like, I think what makes it special is that it clearly displays an understanding of good storytelling, while doing everything in its power to resist that.
Yeah.
Like, to be everything other than classy while still proving that it's good. And so it appeals to the part of people who are like, yeah, I just want to see, like, some dumb shit, but I don't want to feel dumb, you know?
Yeah, I think what feels most... Like, to me, when you use the word dude bro, I agree in the sense that I can totally picture the kind of guy who's like, this is my favorite anime. And that kind of guy is someone who's like completely ironic all the time and never sincere about anything. They're just like, dude, it's so epic. It's so funny, so epic.
Gary said the really guys that I know watch stuff like Castlevania. Like, the JoJo fans I could think of are also fans of Castlevania. Like, Bird loves JoJo, he loves Castlevania. Mother's Basement, he loves JoJo, he loves Castlevania. I definitely think that's a crossover audience there.
Interesting.
So
yeah, like, I appreciate JoJo's for what it is. I really enjoyed part 3. It's just funny to feel like I've always felt that disconnect between myself and other people watching it. I'm like, I don't see this the same way you do.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I'm more of a JoJo appreciator than a fan, for sure.
I've seen everything up through part 4, and my friend really wants to watch parts 5 and 6 so that we can get to part 7, but I am in no rush.
I will say, like, Bird got me to enjoy part 5, and I would say it's like, because I want to say it's 36 episodes long, and I want to say probably around 10 to 12 episodes in was when I started to be like, you know what, this is good. Like, this is a good thing. I'm starting to really enjoy it, and like, ultimately I had a good time with it. Part 6 was kind of disappointing, and Bird even agreed that he didn't think the anime was like that good. He thought it was just kind of undercooked. Steel Ball Run's first episode, and I've read the first volume of the Steel Ball Run manga, and I've seen the first episode of the anime, which actually goes past the first volume but skips a few things, and it is really good. Like, I would say that it's a big improvement because of what it does structurally. Like, because JoJo to me usually feels very meandering. Like, it's just the characters kind of fucking around and then stuff happens, you know? And like Steel Ball Run is like the stakes and the formula are like much clearer. Like, it feels like you know what's going on from the beginning, and you're like, okay, I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out. Now, I don't know how much extra bullshit is going to happen that'll make me go, all right, well, you know, now I'm kind of checked out, because there hasn't been that much yet. But but I do think it was a very strong first episode.
Yeah, that was my understanding, is that part 7 is like the magnum opus of the series or whatever. Like, it's the actual peak, and that everyone has different opinions of the other parts. Some people think part 3 is peak. My experience with it was watching parts 1, 2, and 3. I was pretty consistently entertained and having a great time the entire time I was watching it, but I never felt like... I didn't really feel like there was that much variety to it. I was kind of shocked at just how samey it all was.
No, it's the fucking same thing every episode.
Yeah.
It's like...
Because people were prepping
Goofy
for like,
idiot
oh, I think you're
shows
gonna...
up with crazy power, and then they fight them, you know? JoJo wins. Wow, big surprise.
People were telling me, like, preparing me mentally for part 4, because part 4 is more, part 4 is more slice of life compared to part 3, which is like this big epic adventure. And then watching them back to back, I started to get a little exhausted during part 4, because it is exactly the fucking same as part 3. There is no difference, just that they're in a town instead of being in a different town every episode. But the town was not, like, it's cool, but that's still not the appeal. Like, it's not about that. It's still about the fighting and the funny characters and everything, and the memes. Like, nothing about the show really.
I mean, I think
much.
it's just fundamentally not gonna hit with you and I, because like it's about a bunch of big muscly dudes screaming and beating each other up and poop. You know, like it's just not. None of that is something I have an innate desire to see. You know.
Yeah,
like,
that's essentially what I told my friend Haley as we were watching it, because after we binged parts 1, 2, and 3, she was really jazzed about getting to part 5 because that's her favorite, but I had to break it to her like halfway into part 4. I'm like, I gotta tell you, I'm getting really exhausted at this show, and I'm gonna need a break from it very soon, because there has not been a single real female character this whole time that I can latch onto, and I really want to watch something that isn't so masculine. And she was like,
which
kind
part
of
6 does give you female characters at the least. So
she was like trying to like disagree with me and be like, what do you mean there's like women characters in that? I'm like, no, like there are women
really
in it, but they are not characters. Don't do that.
Yeah. No, part 6 is the like part 5 has a girl in it who is kind of a character, but she doesn't do that much. Part 6 is the first one where it's like the main girl is a JoJo, or the JoJo is a girl. There are she's in a women's prison, so most of the characters are women. They are not very different from the men in JoJo, but at least they are women and are characters, and that definitely gives it a certain, you know, like, oh, this one's a little bit refreshing, but like it's still the JoJo experience, you know. Like,
in parts 1 through 3, the women are all NPCs, and in part 4, there's like one girl character who's relevant, but she's fucking crazy. So it didn't do much for me.
But yeah, like, I mean, just think about how excited Krona got when I said that Touhou is like JoJo if they were all cute girls, and you were like, that would solve the JoJo issue. Like, I love Touhou. It is very similar to JoJo conceptually, except that it's all the things that I would want it to be. Like a bunch of cute girls with like cute outfits that I would want to wear. Like, I would dress as any Touhou character, you know, like the format of the story is like, there is no way to compare power levels in Touhou, because like everybody has special attacks, but in terms of gameplay, it's just about aesthetics. Like basically in Touhou, the way that battles are orchestrated is that there are rules to fighting, which is that you use spell cards and they have to be built out of your aesthetic. Like the characters are literally using attacks that are like, here's what I think looks cool, and therefore I'm attacking you with it. And like there are relative power levels, but like the main character is a human who can beat creatures that can alter reality. You know, like just because of her willpower, basically, it's just having better aesthetics. Like she's just got the best aesthetics, so she wins. Like, there is no rationale to the Touhou universe whatsoever. And in fact, like one character has kind of an arc that is about like realizing that like, oh, if I want to like have a good time here, I need to abandon logic. Like that is the only way to live in Gensokyo. And like narratively, it is almost impossible to actually follow like the plot of Touhou. There is a plot. It is deeply unhinged. But if you want to learn about it, I highly recommend this video that's called Every Touhou Incident Explained. Because basically, each game starts off with the Shrine Maiden is just doing her thing, living at her shrine, drinking tea all day, being lazy. Like her lifestyle is she drinks tea and stares at the sky. That's Reimu's life. She sits at her shrine, drinks tea, stares at the sky. And then every once in a while she'll be like, we're a month into spring and it's still snowing. I should go investigate this because I'm annoyed that spring hasn't arrived yet. And then she flies off in a direction where the snow seems to be coming from, and along the way she'll keep fighting people who show up to be like, hey, you look delicious. Can I eat you? And she's like, no. And then they fight. And then she finds someone else. And she's like, are you causing this weather anomaly? And they're like, no, I'm the bee girl. I'm all about bees. And she's like, well, you're irritating, so I'm going to fight you too. And then eventually she finds the person who's causing the problem and puts a stop to it. And so each of these plots is called an incident. And usually there is some kind of extremely crazy reality warping power at the source of it. And like the villain is always trying to accomplish something very like benign, but by way of like an insane methodology. And so this video, Every Touhou Incident Explained, just goes through each game and explains literally what happens in it. But it is so densely written that if you stop paying attention for like a second, you will completely lose track of what's going on. It is the most like locked in 2.5 hour video I've ever watched. You really gotta lock in. Like I had to keep pausing it and like rewinding it. Like I would get up for a second or like eat a snack and then like turn my attention back. But what happened? Where are we now? But it does just go through the plot of like the first 9, well, because like the first 5 games are not canon, so it's just 6 through 19, and it just goes through the plots of all of them. But particularly wild are some of them are fighting games that are like, because there's 20 main games, and then there's like Touhou 14.5, which will be a fighting game, or 18.5, and then there's like special spin-offs that are like you play as one of the yokai and you're doing like a side quest basically. The fighting game stories are particularly convoluted because every character you play as has their own plot, but they are all in a sequence where it's like if you were to play each character's story in a row, they continue from one another. So describing the stories of any of the fighting games is like a 25-minute chunk of this video. I think there's 3 fighting games, but most of them are bullet hell, and usually the story is like there's not a lot of it. It's just that what's happening is insane. C-Cypher says, I wish JoJo was more twink friendly. It definitely got there in the latest ones. Like JoJo Lands is like all twinks. Oops, all twinks. I mean, they're muscle twinks, but they're nonetheless. They're not big dudes. anymore.
Yeah, they haven't been big dudes since like part 3, as far as I know.
Depends on how big you're thinking. Like part 4, they're more like high schoolers, so a lot of them are smaller.
Yeah.
Part 5 is definitely twinkier. Part 6 is mostly women. Part 7, I would say, is a little bit beefier than 5 or 4. But from what I've seen of JoJo Lands, it is by far the most like identifiably twinky.
Z Cypher's saying I want to cosplay some hoes. I've always wanted to get into cosplay in a big way, but never had like the money or means to do so.
It's not necessarily expensive if you're just buying like pre-made cosplays, because a lot of them are like $50 to $150 range.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is that they're like $50 to $150, and I want to have 100 of them.
Well, yeah, if you want 100 of them, then there's that. But you know, a journey of 1,000 steps starts with a single step, or whatever the phrase is. Journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. That's the one. It's just a matter of deciding that you want a costume more than you want a video game one time. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not good at like managing money and shit. I don't know how to do that. I just try
Sell
to go as long
your
as
video
I can.
games, and then you'll be rich, and then you can do whatever you want.
If I was going to sell my video game collection, now would probably be the best time to do it, since they're still worth money and they haven't, you know, rotted yet, and they're worth a lot more than they were when I bought them.
Yeah, true. I didn't think about the fact that some of them will start to, like, just decay or whatever.
Yeah. The older Nintendo ones will definitely decay within the next 10, 15 years. Which is unfortunate, because I really like having those. There's nothing really like the experience of playing an old game on original hardware. Emulators are not the same at all. Like, not even close. But, you know, that's life.
Place Argar said sell your RAM sticks.
RAM sticks? What RAM sticks? Never had a RAM stick. What do I look like?
A computer? Yeah, no, Krona's an ultimate console gamer. She does own every console and every game on those consoles, but
that's an
every console that's not like the Philips CDI, she's got.
Every console that doesn't suck dick, yeah.
Yeah.
I have the cool ones. I don't have any of that Xbox bullshit. I actually wouldn't mind having
any Xboxes?
No, I'd be cool with having the original Xbox just because it's kind of epic. It's kind of swanky, but I don't believe in Xbox. For the most part.
I don't believe in Xbox.
Yeah, I'm again it.
Wait, how did you play Halo on PC or just at a friend's house or?
So,
I know you've played Halo.
Growing up, I actually had my brother's. He like gave me his Xbox 360, so that was like my primary gaming machine throughout that whole generation of consoles. And I despised it because it was a piece of crap that broke down all the time. So once I was when I was about 20 years old, I decided that I liked Dark Souls. And so in order to play Demon Souls, I wanted to get rid of my piece of shit Xbox and sell all the games I had for it and get a PS3 instead, which was the correct decision. Because Demon Souls rules, and there's nothing really exclusive to the Xbox 360 that I give a fuck about. Halo's cool. It's fine. But, yeah, I don't know. I like.
Well, and generally, everything that was
Uncharted.
multi-platform ran better on the PS3 than it did on the 360.
For the most part, yeah. So I took the Xbox 360 and I put it in a diaper and then I tossed it away into oblivion. Deleted it from existence.
Yeah, we had to go through a couple red rings with our 360.
Yeah.
But the PS3 also had the yellow light of death, and I think we faced that one time.
Well, my first PS3 actually did breaks. It was a PS3 Slim, and I ended up purchasing a PS3 Super Slim, which is ribbed for your pleasure. Has this really infuriating texture on it that is like a magnet for dust. So that's cool.
Fucking PS2 is a piece of shit. Also, I went through like 4 of those.
The PS2 is one of those like undisputed classics where everyone kind of agrees, oh yeah, best console ever. PS2 fucking rules. And I have a hard time thinking of any PS2 games that I feel that strongly about. I'm like, there's like a lot of good ones, a lot of really good ones.
If you were into JRPGs, it was the shit. Yeah. It was absolutely the shit.
Yeah, Dragon Quest VIII, that's it. That's the good PS2 game. That's correct.
No, you got the Shin Megami Tensei games. You've got all the Nipponichi games. Fucking Shadow Hearts. There was a shitload of great. All the Devil May Cries were on there. Fucking God of War.
I love God of War. Okay, yeah. God of War 1 and 2 are definitely up there.
I've got more PS2 games than anything else. It was my biggest collection.
That's the thing. I have a ton of them. Like, listen, I'm just glancing at the shelf right now. Okay, some of my favorite PS2 games include Star Wars Battlefront 2, Katamari Damacy, Shinobi, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, Dragon Quest 8, Dark Cloud 1 and 2, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 I haven't played yet, but I have them. I will play them. Don't yell at me.
See, you've already named enough for it to be an amazing console.
Like Ico and Shadow
that's
of the Colossus.
Hell of a
I don't really
library.
like Ico
Shadow
that
of the
much.
fucking Colossus.
I don't like Ico that much, but Shadow of the Colossus fucking rules. What else is there? Oh, I really love the first Sly Cooper. I'm not a fan of 2 and 3, but the first one is a banger.
Yeah, the first one fucking rules.
I grew up with the Jak and Daxter games, which I don't really like the first one. I think it's kind of boring.
Ratchet and Clank.
Jak 2 and 3 are fun, though. But Jak 2 was way too fucking hard. I've never beaten it. Pisses me off. I don't like Ratchet and Clank that much. Yeah, I've got a bunch over there. It's just hard for me to think of any that I'm like, oh, that's like a 10 out of 10. That's like my favorite fucking game. It's like all the ones I just listed, I'm like, that's like pretty good. Like these games are pretty good. I don't know. I just don't feel as strongly about them. Maybe I'm just cringe. I don't know.
Definitely some of those were some of my favorite games at the time. I do think that that whole era has aged a little poorly, but mostly because that type of game is still being made and like just improved upon. Like I feel like when it comes to like games from generations before that and also just Nintendo games in general, they tended to make stuff that is like one and done and there's nothing else quite like it, you know? Like no two Zelda games are like, even though there's a lot of things that are very similar about them, no two can really replace one another, you know? Whereas like a lot of those PS2 games, it's like, well, okay, yeah, we had Persona 3 and that was great, but they've also like remade it, and there's 2 sequels that are like improved on certain things. I guess I can't say that automatically is Persona 5 better than 3, but I do think a lot of the best stuff on PS2 has just gotten remade and been improved on, like...
I suppose. I don't know if I've been thinking about this recently. I don't know if I even agree with the notion that video games can age, because when people say like, oh, this game aged poorly, usually what they mean is that games have changed over time to the point where modern games are built differently so that people are used to that, and when people try to go back and play something they're not used to, it feels like crap by comparison. And I just feel like that's a personal problem, and I don't see it as the game's problem. I agree with you in terms of how
most people use it. We're like, so I think a lot of people would say that like Tomb Raider 1 has aged poorly because of the tank controls.
Yeah.
I think that game holds up because it's built around the tank controls.
Yeah.
If that game didn't have tank controls, it would play too differently and it wouldn't be fun like the challenge is based around how the controls are built. Yeah. If you don't like those controls, that's understandable. Like if that's just not a type of challenge that appeals to you. And I think that like modern games are built in a way that is more accessible. So yeah, inevitably more people will enjoy the modern ones as compared to the older ones. But like that doesn't mean that they are bad games or have aged poorly. When I use the phrase aged poorly, I more so am thinking about like I think there are types of games that just aren't popular anymore or that weren't really like the biggest problem I have with PS2 games is load times. Like the load times are always fucking terrible, or like the saving system is fucking terrible, and that is by far the hardest thing for me to go back. Like if I was gonna play Persona 3 on the PlayStation 2, like my level of impatience towards the load times will kill the game for me. And so like that's why I think a game like that deserved a remake, because it's like, yeah, nothing was fundamentally wrong with this, just the hardware couldn't really keep up with it, you know?
Yeah, see, that's what's weird to me too, though, is I don't see that as the game aging poorly. I think if you played it when it was new, you would feel exactly the same way, because that's how I felt about stuff like that when it was current, you know? It's like, I don't think the game
I had nothing to compare it to. Like, I didn't know that it could be better until it was, you know? Like, I didn't know that the load times were bad until I, you know, got to the future where now I don't ever have to wait for something to load, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I think even as a kid, I was thinking, like, God, I wish this would load faster.
I think I also would, like, was more likely to make excuses for it back. Like, if a game looked really pretty, it's like, well, it needs all that loading time to load in all these great-looking graphics. And it's like, now I can play a game on my phone that I can open up, and it instantly is showing me incredible graphics, you know? And it's like, okay, well, I don't need to be waiting a minute for this anymore. And you go back and play, like, Yakuza 1 on PS2, and it's just like, you know, this would have been so impressive when it came out that the load times would not have felt like that big of a deal. But now that it's not impressive and it's a long-ass load time, it's just like, oh, man, I'd rather play a new Yakuza, you know, or the remake.
I like Gary always saying that I blew his mind by talking about how games don't actually age. I'm like... It's like, I'm not even sure if I believe in this yet. I've just been pondering it a bit lately. Because I play a lot of I just play a lot of old video games, and when I hear people say, like, this aged so poorly, I can't relate to it most of the time, because I just play old games and enjoy them as if they, like, I enjoy them just as much as modern games, and I don't really see a difference. People complain about tank controls. I'm just like, they're fine. I literally do not mind. I just don't... I don't feel the same way other people do, and I have to assume it's because I play these so often that I'm just used to it, you know?
Like, I think why it's blowing Gary's mind, like, the phrase "this game has aged" is a metaphor, and that's what makes it that you can have so many different meanings of what does that mean, though. Like, like it literally cannot age, except for in the sense that, like, the physical media can degrade, you know, like, but the presentation of the game will remain as it was.
Fuck do I go?
But usually when we say something has aged, what we really mean is, like, culturally this is no longer in vogue. Like, and something like, you know, even 2D games, period, like, there are, like, my brother Victor, he
never thought about it in those terms.
Doesn't play 2D games. He has no interest in them.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I'm
because
talking about.
He grew up with 3D games, and so from his perspective, anything in 2D was always just, yeah, that's old. Like, that doesn't, you know, like his part of his fundamental engagement with games is that you get to move around a world in three-dimensional space. Like, that is what video games mean to him. And so anything that doesn't do that is just like, well, what's the fucking point? Like, I don't even get to run around, you know? Like, why would I play that?
That's exactly how I felt when I was a little kid, yeah.
I think he's softened maybe a little bit on 2D games, but, like, you know, for me, the first games I ever played were Super Mario World, I think, and Mega Man X. And, like, I didn't play very much of them, but I had this conception of, okay, this is what a video game is, you know? And then I saw 3D games, and I got much more interested in that. But I never had it in my head that like that's what a video game is, and it can't be good if it's not that, you know. So like when I grew up and started playing games that are older than me, like I never felt this sense of like, oh, this is, why would I be playing this when I could be playing a new game? And it's like, well, plenty of new games that have three-dimensional movement fucking suck, and these old games are still good and fun to play, you know.
Yeah.
But
That's what it came down to for me. Is I don't think there's games that actually. I don't know if there are games that age poorly, so in the sense that like this was good when it came out and now it is not, because it's not like it doesn't age the way a painting does, or the paintings literally need to be restored because they crack and wear down over time. It's just it's the cultural context. Like you're not used to the way this feels. But I believe strongly that if you get used to a certain outdated aspect of a game, you can enjoy it, you know?
I think a lot of games, something we don't talk about enough is games that have aged gracefully and become better with time. Where like, something like Zelda 1, for the reasons I was describing earlier of like, yeah, you can now download a map app that makes the game more fun. Like, trying to figure out how to do the Lost Woods with no guide doesn't sound fun. And like, that is a way in which I would call that game aged, because like I was saying earlier, like when that game came out, you didn't have anything else. You did not have a second adventure game you could go play. So like beating your head against the Lost Woods, it might not have even been necessarily fun. It could have been frustrating, but like it was something to do and there was not another option.
See, I don't know.
Whereas
I agree with this take, because even though we didn't have the internet back then, there were still ways to like get tips and guides on the game.
Yeah, well, if you could go find a Nintendo Power, or you could meet somebody who knew how to play it.
There were like hotlines you could call in.
Yeah, but like that was just a lot more. I don't think the average person was going to figure all that out. You know, like I think that now, granted, I think that like with a game like Zelda, probably most of the people who bought it had heard of it because of Nintendo Power, and so like there's an extent to which it was more likely that you would like know about that there were guides to it and stuff. At least in the United States, I don't think this would have been the case necessarily in Japan, but like I don't think the game was designed around the expectation that people were going to look up what to do. I think it was designed around the expectation that people were going to spend 100 hours doing this adventure, you know, because again, there was no second option until Dragon Quest came out.
I actually have heard of cases of like, I don't know if this is just speculation or not, but I've definitely heard people talking about it like, oh, this game was made cryptic on purpose to sell more game guides, like mostly in regards to Simon's Quest. I don't know how true that is, but having played Simon's Quest, I would believe it. The game sucks dick.
Yeah, that was definitely a prevailing theory about a lot of 80s games, is that they were trying to sell the guides by making the games cryptic. I really do think it was more so like, we don't know how to make this game long. You know, like most of those video games, if you know what to do, are half an hour long. And like, you know, what else is there going to be to add some mystery and longevity to it? And like, I think they probably also didn't realize how big video gaming was going to be. Like, they're making these games thinking, I'm selling this to a niche audience of hardcore gamers. And then when a game kind of broke containment, it became massive. It was like, oh, okay, well, now I'm seeing all these pain points that people are having who are not, you know, who were interested in jumping on this thing but are not committed to that level of insanity, you know, to solve what it actually is. And so that's why games got simpler over time, is because they realized, oh, like, we could actually be selling these to tens of millions of people if we just adjust little things about it, you know.
Gary always says, my mind is more blown because I used to always think about it on a cultural monolith level and not an individual level, but game age is totally subjective and personal, just like everything else. Yeah, that's essentially what I'm getting at. Like,
for sure.
People talk about it like it's a ubiquitous thing. Like, we can all agree that Ocarina of Time has aged gracefully. And like, actually, no. Lots of people don't feel that way about Ocarina of Time.
Anybody who ever says that phrase is a ridiculous human being. Like, what do you mean we can all agree? That has never been the case of anything ever in human history. We have never all agreed. Stop.
It's a fucking bug. Got it.
But a lot of it's the like call to authority fallacy. Like there are people who want to believe very strongly that the things that are obvious to them must be obvious to everyone because it helps them to justify their own feelings. And it's like, I think those kind of people just cannot handle the idea that they could be like disagreed with, you know, that like there is another perspective that is equally correct. Like I think some people cannot handle that because it'll make them in a perpetual state of having to believe two things. And
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
that's the smart way to live. Apotheosis, is that what it's called? Two things are true. Two things can be true.
I mean, a lot of people just don't comprehend the difference between a fact and an opinion, or how to discuss facts and opinions without sounding
or
like
to
a
just
geek.
have two contradictory opinions and have them both, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like people are so afraid of like being a hypocrite, but it's like you are though. The brain is a hypocrite. The brain doesn't function in a purely logical way. And two things can be believed and contradict each other, and you can still believe them both. And it doesn't not make sense to do that. This is something Professor Sky, he's a record reviewer, he talks about it like almost every video. He talks about apotheosis, and the phrasing he always uses, two things can be true.
Yeah, I that's definitely one of my insecurities, is that I'm deathly afraid of being a hypocrite. But
It can't be. You are a hypocrite. It cannot
Yeah.
be helped. You are inevitably a hypocrite.
it's true. It's part of being human. Fuck. I feel like there was something I was gonna say a minute ago and I forgot what it was. God damn it.
I'm thinking about. I've definitely done this part. I don't know if I got much past this though. No, I think I did beat the second dungeon, and I think I was on my way to the third, and I got frustrated by something. I know when we get there, when I see the scene, I'll be like, "This is it. This is where I rage quit." Like,
I can't wait.
but I really despised this whole segment because I had a hard time finding all these things, and I didn't like the just like
Rocks
this.
falling
I don't know.
is awful.
This whole segment just frustrated me, and it took me forever to get through, and it left me in kind of a sour mood. And then when something else pissed me off about the game, I was like, "No, I'm done."
This is like a baby
It's definitely
game to
more
me. It's
fun to
interesting.
watch than it was to play.
Yeah. I mean, I've played this like 5 times already, so to me a lot of this stuff is intuitive, but I know in my first playthrough I did a lot more just running around being like, where do I fucking go? What am I meant to do? And then eventually you happen to stand in the right place and Midna gives you the prompt of like, press the A, just mash the A button while I lead you through the level.
Yep.
That's like the worst part of this game, is just mashing A while Midna makes you jump automatically. It's just such a fucking stupid, lazy way to design a game. I don't like that part at all. Everything else is cool and interesting. Just why with the jumping? Pure nonsense. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. We're talking about the fuck. People assuming that everything is obvious and true to everybody. I was thinking about how that relates to Zelda, because I've been playing Zelda games so much recently. My YouTube algorithm is feeding me tons of videos about Zelda, and it's like what everybody in every Zelda video fucking says, is they're like, we can all agree that the Wind Waker HD is the definitive way to play. Twilight Princess HD is pretty much the definitive version of the game.
No,
And I'm
no,
like,
no,
everybody
no.
I talk to feels the opposite. That's crazy.
Have they never seen one Matthew Matosis video? Come on.
Well, because of the Matthew
Actually,
Matosis
the
video,
graphics,
now they'll rephrase their Wind Waker takes to be that some people feel that the original graphics are more aesthetically pleasing due to looking more like a two-dimensional cartoon. It's like just reporting on what other people think, and
Which
not
it's
having an
really funny
opinion.
because like when I watched that Matthew Matosis video, I was like, yeah, of course, probably the original. Like, yeah, I see what he's saying. The original looks better. Then I played the remake, and I was like, I like everything about this remake more. I don't care.
That's pretty much what happened to me. Is that I
Totally get what he's saying. Totally disagree.
Yep.
You know, but
It's true that the new lighting effects make the game look like claymation instead of a drawing, but also The Wind Waker HD, to me, is just more pleasant in every last way. Like, the original one is janky as fuck, and I do not enjoy playing it. I find it incredibly dull. Which is why we are not playing it on Slime Dolls, because I played Wind Waker HD a little too recently. I don't want to play that game again for a long time. The most fun part, far and away, was the Triforce hunt at the end, and the dungeons are terrible, and I just do not have enough adoration for Wind Waker. I feel like I would just upset people with how much I don't like parts of that game.
What was your issue with the HD remake of this game?
Well, in Twilight Princess HD, they didn't really change that much about it. A lot of it felt like arbitrary. Like they're like, oh, we want to refine it and make it a smoother experience, and it's just like removing random shit that was not a problem. And
I see.
like this thing I'm doing right now of like hunting these bugs. They made it so that there's like 3 or 4 fewer bugs in each area. That changes nothing.
Okay.
It feels like exactly the same amount of time.
It's funny you say that, because I would not be surprised if they changed it in exactly a way that would make me like it more, because like I remember this segment there being like 2 bugs I just couldn't fucking find.
Now it's
and like
happening to me
running
right
around
now.
for like an hour looking for these 2 fucking bugs and just getting so pissed off because like I just want to be done with this segment. Like, where the fuck are these bugs?
I bet I have to interact with this guy or something like that. It's gonna be like talk to an NPC and that'll activate the bug. Fuck.
I gotta repeat.
It's gonna be something stupid, I swear. But also, Twilight Princess HD, it looks like they removed the piss filter. Like, it just looks a little more saturated with the colors. And they didn't update the graphics, really, aside from adding new HD textures. And it just makes it look like a GameCube game with HD texture packs applied. It's so weird. It looks like a mod. It doesn't look like an official remaster. Okay, Midna, what do you have to say? Okay, just flavor text, nothing useful. Oh, it's right there. Got it, got it. This is not one of the bugs they removed, by the way. I'm just a dingus. Visuals in HD feel unnatural in some way, like you can tell you're playing an old game. It's true. It's very true. Midna is cute. She really is. I don't know if I've said this on the record before, but Midna is my favorite character in any Zelda game. She's definitely top 10 video game characters, period. I love her. I love her character design. I love her attitude. I love her character arc. She's just perfect. Even though she never shuts the fuck up and interrupts my gameplay constantly, I don't even mind because I just like her so much. Just the polar opposite to that one thing from Skyward Sword, the like robot girl.
B.
V, yeah. That was so ridiculous when I finished Skyward Sword the first time, and Fee is all like, "Oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to be sealed away in the sword for eternity. You'll never see me again." And it was like playing the sad music. I was really happy. I'm like, "Yay, she's dead. I'll never see her again." Awesome.
These like god creature things. This is a perfect example of something that I remember, like when Victor was playing this game for the first time. That like these things would show up, and he'd be like, "Whoa! Look at that thing!" Because like aesthetically, it is kind of like a new idea at the time. Like nothing looked like this that we had ever seen, you know. And that's the kind of thing that when I say like the game, like that's the kind of example I would use for the game has aged. And not to say that it looks bad or worse, but just that like the novelty is not there of this being like I think what ages art is the fact that it has children. Like everything that's good influences other things, and therefore it becomes that like old stuff feels more obvious than it did when it happened. You know,
That's
like
true.
at the
That's
time
very
it would have been like, whoa, this is fucking mind blowing, and then eventually you've seen 300 of them, and like when you're born into a reality where the whole lineage exists, it's like you never know which one you're gonna encounter first. Like if your first Zelda was anything past the first Zelda, then when you go back and play Zelda 1, it's kind of like passe. Like, yeah, of course it's like this. It's Zelda, Zelda 1's a bad example for that because it is actually quite different from most of the later ones, and it is more like when you go back to Zelda 1, you're usually like, oh wow, I'm surprised how much this is both different and similar to what came later. But like, for instance, if you were to play like the Minish Cap before you ever played Link to the Past, like it's not going to blow your mind the same way it would have if you had only ever played Zelda 1 and 2 and then A Link to the Past came out and you're like, oh my god, this is Zelda in... It's that same feeling of seeing this compared to Ocarina of Time. It was like, this is Zelda in HD,
For sure. I mean, A Link to the Past just took the good parts of Zelda 1 and 2 and removed all the bullshit.
And made the visuals like twice as good at least.
Yeah.
Literally 16-bit instead of 8-bit.
Yeah, definitely novelty is an effect I've noticed, is that when I was a teenager, I was much more easily dazzled by the cinematic effects and stuff. But even then, I don't know if I'd call that the game aging as much as me, because at the time, when I was playing games, when they were entering their big epic cinematic era, and I was like, whoa, at the time, I was listening to people like the Game Grumps or whoever, and they would complain about games like that and be like, that's fucking lame and stupid. My specific example would be Tomb Raider, playing Tomb Raider on PS4, Definitive Edition.
I love that game, by the way.
Yeah, it's really fun. At the time...
They just released that on the iPhone, by the way.
That's crazy.
Tomb Raider 2013 has been ported to iPhone, and I'm like...
It has a Switch port, so...
Yeah, but... It's on a fucking mobile phone, and it looks almost as good as it did on the PS3 in 2013. I'm just like, holy shit! Like, that was like when it came out, it was like a processor pushing game. Like it was like you could benchmark your computer on whether or not you can make the hair physics work in Tomb Raider. Yeah. I doubt they went all the way on the hair physics on the iPhone, but still,
No, definitely not. The Switch version is basically the PS3 version with the hair that does not move. But yeah, Tomb Raider is my example of that was a game I played when I was like 16 or whatever, and it felt like a huge leap forward. Like the graphics were the most realistic I'd ever seen, and it was full of these cinematic moments where you'd try to jump across a gap like you do in a platformer, but then Lara would start to lose her grip and go, whoa, and you'd have to press square to like make her grab the ledge before she fucking died. Now I look back on that and I'm like, these QuickTime events are tedious and they're everywhere, and they don't actually add any danger to the situation because they give you a million years to react.
Yeah.
So it just feels like bullshit now.
Or
at the time, it was mind-blowing.
The QuickTime events in that game are always either like way too easy or way too hard. Like there's a few of them where it's like fucking this one jump that's just really hard to land for no reason, and it'll take you 5 tries.
The part where you slide down the rapids.
Yeah, I always hated the QuickTime events in that game because that kind of stuff, I just hate having the control taken away from me to do something cinematic has always driven me insane. But like, when I think about like what blows my mind, because like, yeah, obviously you become more jaded as time goes on, but like, what's that fucking, somebody in chat, I think it's called Ultra Kill. Have you seen that game Ultra Kill before?
Oh yeah, I've been recommended it very strongly, especially by Kino.
That's the kind of thing that like even now in my old age, I can look at that and go like, holy shit, like this looks insane. Like, and it's not so much that it's like, the most cutting edge graphics as it is just a visual presentation that had never been done before, and like, and looks crazy. It makes me go like, what the fuck am I looking at, So I still can get that effect from new things, but it's more novelty than just like raw, wow, this is pretty. I'll even say though, like, because Bird just got this fucking incredible new PC, watching him play modern games, I have had the feeling like, oh my god, graphics have like reached a new level. Like looking at Crimson Desert and Assassin's Creed Shadows,
Yeah.
both of them had me like, I don't think I've ever seen a game that looks this good, you know?
I haven't had that feeling since The Last of Us Part 2, which came out during the pandemic. Played The Last of Us 2 and thought, wow, this is the most lifelike a game has ever looked. And since then, it's been really tiny steps forward, and I don't really notice much of a difference anymore from game to game.
I think Assassin's Creed Shadows blew my mind mostly because it is a similar setting to Sekiro and Nioh, but looks significantly better than those games. And so it's like, I remember the feeling of playing Sekiro and being like, oh, this is so fucking like sick looking. And then like looking at Shadows, I'm like, oh my god, this is like those levels if they were a step up in graphics, you know?
Yeah. It's like Naughty Dog games. Like Naughty Dog has just mastered the artistry of not just making a game look lifelike, but also giving it like really like wide sweeping landscapes that look pretty and look realistic.
I still haven't played Last of Us 2. Last of Us 1, when I think back on it, all I can remember is the chest-high walls. Like, that whole game has been reduced.
Well, do you
in my
remember
mind
Uncharted
to
4?
the chest-high walls.
Because Uncharted 4
Uncharted
also,
4 is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Last of Us 2
That game
looks
looked
like.
amazing. Like, with Assassin's Creed Shadows and with Crimson Desert, neither one is a step up in like character quality. Like I would say the characters are still very like Uncanny Valley. I think probably Capcom is like on the bleeding edge of like the characters looking good, and even then it's still a little off. Oh, I guess Naughty Dog would be they've probably done the most to make the characters look real, but like when it comes to the environments, just like the amounts of detail and like clarity of detail. When I watch him play Assassin's Creed Shadows, I'm like, I feel like I could walk into the screen and I'd be there, you know? Like
I have to use the bathroom again.
Shoot. Will we ever play Ramune Square Dungeon? I have never heard of it. Let me look it up. I don't think I've heard of it. Unless you mentioned it to me before and I forgot. Let me look it up. It's about a slime girl, apparently. Oh yeah, she cute. If Chrono wants to play this, then I could see streaming it. This has got the artwork reminds me of a game that I was talking about in a Discord call the other day, which is Cosmo Dreamer and Like Dreamer, which are two really good bullet hell games, but they have what I have described as definitionally autistic art. And Ramune Square Dungeon has like everyone's got giant balloon titties. The art is all like very simplistically drawn, and it's just like cute girls, very simple expressions, and giant tits. Yeah, it looks pretty cute. The game developer mainly makes fart porn games. That makes sense. That is exactly the kind of art that a person who makes fart porn games would draw. But yeah, shout out to Cosmo Dreamer and Light Dreamer, which are made by an artist called Outside, or Soto no Hito. And they're like two of the best like entry-level bullet hell games that you can buy on the Nintendo Switch.
Big ass shirt.
Did you hear us talking about fart porn games and that's why you did that?
I did not. I just I'm just so ahead of the curve, you know? I'm all about sharding. I was into sharding before it was cool.
Sharding will never be cool.
How dare you?
Let's not make sharding a thing.
I'm on that shart hustle, you can't stop me.
Behemoth just walked past. Hello, Mr. Cat.
I like video games. Look at that fucking guy. Look at that glowing dog.
Wolf maxing.
That's the player character from those other Zelda games we played on stream.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
The hero of time. He turned into a skelly man and then a furry. And lost an eye, I guess.
So this is the one who did play Majora's Mask.
Yes. This is the
Okay.
This is the
This
child
is
Link timeline.
way grown up kid Link.
Yep. Yeah, some people theorize that because he's a skeleton because when he was searching for Navi in the Lost Woods, he turned into a Stalfos, because that's what happens to people who get lost in the woods.
I see.
I think that's extremely bleak and depressing, and it also doesn't make sense because this Link is wearing that Link's old armor, and it doesn't look like the same tunic from Ocarina of Time. So I have to assume the hero of time went on many more adventures and grew up and then turned into a skeleton some other time. Like he just died. Like he clearly turned into an epic badass and then died somewhere. Doesn't matter. He's just the cool mentor that teaches you sword fighting moves. He has a bigger role in the manga.
I'm gonna grab myself a munchy snack.
Yes. I think that was definitely the moment, Chad, that was the moment when I realized the Twilight Princess manga was peak, was when this skeletal hero appeared, and Midna was like so happy to see that he was alive that she started crying and hugged him like she already knew him. I was like, okay, yeah, this manga's peak. They know what's up. A true shart cell. Normies can't write my enigma. Oh my god.
Check out my big barrel of fucking peanut butter bites. Yo. Peanut butter pretzel bites. These things are the most addicting snack I've ever had. And they're not even like amazingly good. Like it's not that they taste incredible. It's that they have exactly enough salt and peanut butter to make me want to eat them as like a meal.
Josh and I were having a peanut butter debate at the grocery store the other day.
Crunchy versus smooth or what?
Yep. I'm anti-crunchy. I'm the crunch hater.
I was anti-crunchy for most of my life. Bird is a huge crunchy peanut butter guy, so he got me acclimated to it. But I don't like getting it stuck in my fucking teeth.
I'm again it.
Bird is so extreme he will get the extra crunchy peanut butter.
Oh. The radical crunchist I see.
Yeah.
So much for the tolerant left. This guy's mustache looks like tusks.
He is Tusk.
He is the movie Tusk.
Yeah.
I'll turn him into a walrus.
Corona, do you know anything about Disco Elysium?
Not really.
I'm going to be streaming that tomorrow at noon. And all I know about it is that it's like a dialogue-driven adventure, like point-and-click adventure game, where the main character is a detective with multiple personalities. And also, it's like very political. And people have been recommending me it forever, like the whole time it's existed. And I think I was just scared that I probably like was not smart enough to understand it for a long time. But I feel like I've developed the brain muscle capacity that maybe I'll be able to tackle it. Fully grasp the nuances of a political story.
Yeah, that. I felt like that with Fallout New Vegas, that when I tried playing it as a teenager, I did not understand politics well enough to have a grasp on how to make the game fun for myself. And it became exponentially more interesting playing it post-transition.
I got a friend who those are like his two favorite games, is Fallout New Vegas and Disco Elysium.
Nice.
Bird played Fallout New Vegas recently and was not impressed because he just killed everyone.
Yeah. That shit is so funny. You just like kill a story critical character and see like 15 different quests that you have been locked out of. It's just like you failed this one and this one and this one and this one.
He thought it was like unplayable without using the like the commands you can put in to make yourself move faster. Because there's no like sprint button.
Yeah.
It was just like the movement is so fucking slow. I cannot play this.
That was how I felt my first time trying it, and then I gave it another shot and realized very quickly that the map is fucking tiny, and that compensates for how slow you are. Like, it really doesn't take that long to get anywhere. Like, there are mods you can get to add a sprint button, it just makes the map puny. It's like you're just sprinting across the fucking... This is awful. Why is this happening? Sumo minigame. I'm crying on the inside. I need to shove Tusk out of the ring. Stop it. This is stupid. This is a stupid shit. I'm just gonna keep mashing A. Okay, I win.
Fighting is inherently gay.
Just slapping our bellies together.
It's just a form of intimacy that you can have and be like, no, it's totally straight, but it's not.
So
There's nothing straighter about fighting than fucking.
I've come to realize that sumo minigame is like a game of rock, paper, scissors, where rock is just clearly better than paper and scissors, and it it wins every time. Motherfucker, this guy, like, every time I tried using the slap ability, if I hit him, that opened him up to a grab. But if you just grab him, he's open to a grab anyway. And if you fail the slap, he can grab you. It's fucking goofy as shit. It makes no sense. Just grab all the time. If you grab at the time that he tries to slap, then you end up automatically dodging the slap and you grab him anyway. Why would you not just mash grab over and over again? Nonsense minigame.
I'm like in my mind trying to figure out if there's nothing straighter about fighting than fucking is like profound, and if I need to like go in on that, or if that's just like
Write a book about it right now. A novel. Isn't that what Deadpool and Wolverine was about?
yeah, pretty much.
When you call my name, it's like a little breath down on my knees. I wanna take you there.
That was one of those cases where they played a song in the trailer, and then I was very happy to hear that the song was in the actual movie and not only the trailer.
As it should be.
It's so disheartening when a trailer has the coolest like rendition of a song ever, and then that song's nowhere to be found anywhere else. Having a Furiosa, like the Furiosa trailer had this cover of what's it called, The Man Who Sold the World, And it's just this really heavy guitar riff going, and the movie looked so fucking awesome, and I watched it and I loved it, and then the end credits rolled, and I was like, they didn't play the song! Where's the fucking song?
Who is that song by?
I don't remember. I could barely remember what the song was called. This Hyrule theme music is great. Holy shit.
This is another one of those places where I feel like this game is very divisive, is whether you think this is the best or not the best Hyrule Field. Because, like, a big part of why Vic always insisted that this was the best Zelda is like, oh, but Hyrule Field is this huge, expansive, like, awesome place. And I'm like, well, first of all, the first time you go there, you can only go in, like, a straight line across a small segment of it. And the fact that it is segmented makes me not feel like it's an open world. It just feels like 4 different little Hyrule Fields, basically.
That's kind of how I always felt about it, but when I played this a couple years ago, I did take the time to really explore and just try out all the different pathways that I don't normally take. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that Hyrule Field in this game is very Metroidvania, and that every time you finish a dungeon, if you come back through the field, you will find something new you can interact with. So you got a new weapon.
I think that's what he liked about it so much, because it was like, if you get all the heart pieces, then it's like, you know, you really feel like you've had this epic journey, and you like really learn the world, which I get. That's true of like every Zelda, kind of, but
if you play this game in the most straightforward way possible, which is how I played it as a kid, you can ignore all the optional stuff, but then it makes this game's world feel confusing and irritating to interface with. Exploring it really makes it feel just more satisfying all around.
That's another thing that I really love about the Minish Cap, is that it's not just that you go and like find heart pieces and stuff, but you have these things called kinstones, and basically there's random NPCs who are carrying one half of a kinstone, and you find the other halves, and when you combine them, it changes something about the world. So like there's collectibles that will open up paths to new segments of the world where there are more collectibles, and the better you know the world, like the more special it is when like you do a fusion and you're like, oh shit, that wall was actually opens up and now there's a whole thing there, and like you get really excited about seeing changes in the world.
That kind of thing makes me happy. I like to feel like I'm having a real impact on the game's world. Especially in Zelda, where you're supposed to feel like a hero. That's kind of the ethos of Zelda to me, is like I'm a hero on an epic quest, saving people and killing monsters.
There's a game that we both really need to play, and it's Terranigma.
Yes! Oh my god, yeah.
Everything I've heard about that game seems like it would be both of our, like, definitely our jam.
I actually have it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Holy crap. I didn't even think it came out in America. Isn't it like a Europe-only game?
Yeah, I used the same high IQ gamer move I did with Dragon Quest for all the Dragon Quests that were never released outside of Japan. I bought a bootleg that looks like an American cartridge, has a label stuck to it and everything. So it looks as though the game released in the US, and it works on my Super Nintendo, and it's great.
Very clean.
Yeah, I have that for Terranigma, and I just haven't played it yet.
Yeah, we both need to play Terranigma sometime. Like, a lot of people insist that it's like literally the greatest game of all time.
I was gonna say, this thing that I'm doing right now in this game is one of my favorite segments, because it's exactly what I was just talking about. This is one of the set pieces where you get to feel like a badass fantasy hero. It's like this kid character who really likes Link and looks up to him and everything. He's like, gosh, you're just the coolest. I want to be like you when I grow up. And he's fucking been kidnapped by this creepy goblin man. You get to fucking joust with him.
Yeah, this is a great set piece.
I absolutely loved when they adapted this into the manga, too. It's so fucking good. It's so hype. And they illustrated that hero shot of Link on the bridge. Iconic.
Yakuman, being pitched on Terranigma being like Shin Megami Tensei is like a really weird suggestion to me because it doesn't play anything like that. It's like an action RPG. Like it plays more like a Zelda, from what I understand.
It is a Squeenix game, isn't it?
It's
not?
Enix before Squeenix.
Okay.
But it was made by Quartet, which like Quartet made. They made ActRaiser, and they made what is referred to as the Quartet trilogy, which is Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and Terranigma, which all kind of play on similar themes and similar play styles. I've beat Soul Blazer, and I love that game. But from what everything I've heard of Terranigma is basically just that it does a lot of the same things, but better and more, and so it's kind of overshadowed Soul Blazer. But I loved Soul Blazer, which Soul Blazer is basically like Dark Cloud, like Proto Dark Cloud. Like you enter a level where there's nothing there, and it's like there's supposed to be a village here, and then like you go into the dungeon, and every time you beat a monster spawn, you spawn something back in the town, and it'll be like a whole house shows up, you know, and then the next monster spawn you destroy, a guy shows up in that house, and then you go talk to that guy, and he gives you an item you need to progress through the dungeon.
I'm like getting lost in this music right now.
The Raito games are action RPGs, but they're not like free roaming in that sense where like it plays more like Tales of Symphonia, where like you get into a battle and then you run freely in the battle. But it still has like random battles.
The important thing to note about Terranigma is that it's a Super Nintendo game, and the Super Nintendo games are the coolest video games to ever exist. In terms of aesthetics, they are just the peak of video game history. Games have never and will never look or sound as cool as they did on the Super Nintendo, which is why Terranigma is probably the best video game ever made.
A sound argument. Super Metroid is probably still the best looking Metroid game.
Like, even compared to other, like,
Is that
pixel
is that the
games.
fucking Kakariko Village music I just heard?
Yeah, this is Kakariko Village.
Oh.
It's like a rundown desert town now. Also, the creepy baby man has opened up a shop. Little bro immediately becomes a capitalist when given the opportunity. It's quite disturbing.
Aren't you a baby?
I am 47 years old.
It's like that kid from Euphoria who's like a drug dealer.
What the fuck? I haven't seen that.
The show has like a 8-year-old who's like a hardcore gangster.
What the fuck?
Alright, I've had enough. I'm not keep eating these snacks.
I've had enough. I'm done. I'm fucking done with this peanut butter shit. Peanut butter bullshit.
I do think we should probably wrap this stream pretty soon. I've run out of things to say.
Yeah, I was just noticing the momentary pause, the quiet in the air, and I'm like, I don't have much to say either. I think where are we at? Almost 4 hours? Yeah, I'm good to wrap here and save and quit.
Oh, are we really almost 4 hours? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pretty close
Yeah,
to
that
getting to
zoomed
the
by.
second dungeon.
Nice.
Let's see. What does the game say? What is the game's timer at? Yep.
We did it, everybody. We resurrected slime dolls. Holy crap.
Finally.
It,
Yeah, it's not that I haven't been working on stuff either. It's just I got that part-time job and it made me fucking sleepy for like 2.5 weeks. I've had like projects in the pipeline too. I was actually planning something for the month of May, but it's gonna have to get delayed because it's just not done yet, which is sad.
do you want to announce? Do you want to build hype?
Yeah, sure. So those of you who are longtime Trixie fans, you may or may not have also watched Hypocrite, Give and Take YouTube channel I discovered independently of Trixie by pure coincidence. But anyway, a long time ago, she tried to do a thing she called Kirby Month, where she would cover basically every Kirby game ever, like day by day throughout the course of a month, and got burnt out and gave up. I've always thought that was tragic because I loved the Kirby videos, and so I thought it'd be fun to do my own Kirby Month, but not doing like a video every single day, and not talking about the games that nobody cares about, like Kirby Pinball or whatever. I just want to talk about the Kirby games I really like, and the plan is to release 6 Kirby videos periodically throughout an entire month.
A lot of Kirby.
And then once a month, or not once a month, once a year, I will do that, making like between 4 to 6 videos about Kirby once a year until I am caught up on the newest Kirby games. Just for funsies.
How many Kirbys are there that you do want to talk about in total?
I'm not sure. I think for this one, I definitely want to get through all of the classics, like everything from the original game to the N64 game. Because that's the stuff that's, that's the really good shit. Those are the classics. And then maybe next year I'll do the ones that were on like the DS and the Wii. And after that, I can get to the more modern ones. Just take it in piecemeal. Go era by era in that way. But yeah, just I've been having a lot of fun making it. I just need to get back into making it, and also making other more regular Gigadonk flavored content. Because I don't know, I like making videos, and I haven't been able to do it in a minute, and it's been kind of bumming me out because shit's fun. Shit's fun to make. I want to do more of it. But
As for slime dolls, we will continue this game. Probably either if we don't manage to do it on Monday, we'll just do it next Thursday, but we might do it on Monday also, if it works out. And besides that, we will start playing Dragon Quest II sometime soon, and start working towards making that second Dragon Quest series video.
Yeah. And then Final Fantasy after that.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Which hopefully by the time we get to Final Fantasy, we will have ironed out exactly the perfect formula for the videos, and they'll be primed to take off, because Final Fantasy is definitely more popular than Dragon Quest in English-speaking communities. Mm-hmm. So there might be a little more opportunity there to draw in the viewers and then funnel them all back to the Dragon. Like, no, you have to go watch the Dragon Quest videos. Like, I don't care if you've never played it, you're gonna play it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if Final Fantasy 1 is that popular, but hopefully just the name Final Fantasy will get us a little bit of a boost.
Aside from that, I'm going to be streaming Disco Elysium tomorrow at noon.
Hell yeah.
And, my husband Bird has been streaming Assassin's Creed Shadows on twitch.tv/birdfriendsplay, and we'll probably also multi-stream it to YouTube. If you follow Bomber Girl Vera, the YouTube channel and Twitch channel, I have done some random Bomber Girl Vera streams of Animal Well, and I'll probably do more, but they will not be scheduled or announced. They'll just happen. And besides that, I've been working on some other videos for my channels, but I also am going to launch a Touhou podcast in the next few weeks with Kino. And go listen to the Golden Butterflies podcast, because both of us are on that.
Yeah, those have been super fun to
sometimes.
do. That's been eating up my time more than anything, is all the podcasts I've been doing.
Big podcast.
Yeah.
Well, all right, I think that's it then. See you later, everybody.
Meow meow. Bye. Stream.